there, folks. Friday, January the 21st, 2022. I almost said 2021. But I've avoided it so far. So far, so good. Usually I have a little carryover, but not so bad. Quickest message of the night goes to Wrestling All-Stars memorabilia. It's going to be Slobberknocker. Probably. You're right. Global Sports Card Investor, good evening there. Good evening. Yep. Sounds good. Yep, we're doing well on this end. Hopefully things are going well on your side. We're getting there. All right, so David G, good evening. And Mr. Bootman, good evening. Praise to the content gods. Absolutely. 100%. The content gods have been kind. I was actually just laughing for a second ago with Bobby and Brad, and I was saying that I always hear that folks keep talking about it's like, because I know that on the crossover, a bunch of folks put in their comments of suggestions for topics and stuff like that, because I see them on the social media posts, and they say, oh, can we talk about anything but the drama? I was like, I don't know if you guys realize that the two live streams that I did most recently that did by and far away the best, including the last one that has done tremendously well. It's like, are you sure that you guys don't actually want drama? Because people seem to be clicking on it. You show them drama and they're like, I gotta watch that. It's like, but I hate myself, but I gotta watch it.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, whatever you say.
Mm-hmm. It's like a car accident. You gotta look, right?
Yeah, good evening. Absolutely. So Brad here now has to worry about a big bad bulk submitter soiling the name of other bulk submitters. So we'll talk about that a little bit. The great irony is that Yannick was actually saying, oh, by the way, Yannick, I know that you were we were working on the microphone thing last time. If you want to come on, just basically just ping me directly and I'll send you the link. I was sending it to a couple of folks, but I didn't have time. I was kind of rushing around here. But just let me know and I can send you the link. I will put it in the chat at some point, but we'll wait a little bit before we get to that. But we'll definitely talk about that topic because now it's the fallout. We had the last live stream actually did a really good job covering the basics of the Marx thing. I feel like we did a good enough job with that. If there's some pressing question or some thought that somebody has, we can talk about that. No problem. We don't need to harp on it too much. But now it's what comes after. For other bulk submitters, and then for the general genre of the bulk submitting and everything, I think for a lot of folks it's not going to make too much of a difference. But for other ones, and this is the good takeaway, well then great. Ask what your bulk submitter's policy is. Ask, are you directly submitting? Are you doing it through somebody else? And then if they're doing it through somebody else and you're not comfortable with that, fair enough. Go shop around and look for someone else who is doing it directly, or that you're able to vouch for in different ways. Maybe look for somebody who's been in the industry a little while. It has a track record. So we'll definitely touch on a lot of that idea. So you're going to be Aussie Card Dad. So that's what I mean. Like there's a good, it's funny because we people act like it's, oh, this is so negative. It's like, no, it's actually not. It's a good lesson. It's a good reminder. The Logan Paul one is a good reminder. It's a good way of being like, oh yeah, actually. So maybe you should ask a couple more questions. Maybe just don't trust blindly.
Peering into hindsight, right?
Yeah.
Got to know what's going forward.
Ask
the question.
It's a good. Take it as an opportunity to remind yourself. It's like, oh, by the way, you could avoid a lot of this just by asking a couple of questions. And by the way, most of the bulk submitters who are good, who have been in the industry and the business a long time, they will answer the question for you and they'll explain what their process is and give you the outline of that. We part of the reason that we know Brad already previously, but then when we were at the Fall Expo, Brad was literally at the booth explaining the process over and over and over again for hours at a time. So it's like you have to be willing to work with somebody who will explain these things to you and make you comfortable. It has to be. And by the way, sometimes Brad turned people away. This doesn't make sense for you, for what you're trying to do and what this is. Maybe the price point isn't right, or maybe this isn't worth it for what you're trying to accomplish.
This is an SGC.
Yeah. But sometimes it's like, you know what? Sometimes maybe some stuff, maybe you shouldn't grade it. Maybe this isn't for you. Maybe it's not the right time for you, or maybe you should reconsider and take it back and think about it. That rather than just take it, all right, I'll take your money. Here you go. Not all the time. You got to pick your spots a little bit. Hockey Hockey's here. I find too many people in the live stream. Looks like a bad hockey uncanny panel. Yep. Not enough mic time. We usually manage pretty well. We do our best. Yeah, so good evening, Business 124. Absolutely. Now, one thing I'm going to do, I'm going to read the official statement from PSA on Marx Cards, because they do have an official statement. So I will read it. It's not very long, but I'll read it to you guys so that we have all got it, and then we'll chat into the topic du jour a little bit here. All righty. So this is on the PSA website. I did put it in the description. So if you guys are interested in seeing it, you can check it out for yourself. It's the exact link that you're seeing right now on the screen. Okay. This is an unfortunate incident. Our top priority is protecting the collectors who may have been impacted by the bankruptcy of Marx Cards. We are currently requesting detailed account information from Marx Cards for the impacted orders still at PSA, with the express goal of returning them to the rightful owners as soon as possible. We will not be charging customers for the return of their cards other than shipping. As of yet, we have not received payment from Marx Cards to grade the cards in our possession, and as a result of this incident, and this part's really important, so pay attention to this part, we will be making changes to our group submitter requirements, including a new order upfront deposit and more robust policies around late payments. So that's a policy change. We will also be requiring all group submitters to bring their accounts current in order to continue service with us. Also important, keep that in mind. We ask for patience while we sort through this expensive and labor-intensive process, with the end goal of being the return cards to the rightful owners. And then they include a website there so you can reach out if you're affected, and with Marx Cards in the subject line so that you can go from there with PSA directly. So that's really important. There's a couple of important takeaways there. Really, really important. Really important. So let's kind of lean in then to the topic a little bit here. So Aussie Card Debt has a direct question for you, Brad. What's the policy of PSA Canada in regards to this?
Curious if Brad expects. Yeah, so what we do is as soon as the cards are graded at PSA and we get the charges come through to us, then we send an invoice, and we changed this probably 6 months ago. So we'll send an invoice to you. So Bobby, if you sent in cards to me, you don't pay anything for that service. As soon as the cards are graded, so we know if there's up charges, etc., we send you a copy of the invoice. That means the cards are in the shipping department. They're on their way back to us. So then we send the invoice, and our rule is before we ship the cards back to you, you just pay us and away we go. So, and the rule with PSA for us, it's we pay Len for 20 years. How he would do it, he would actually send payment with the orders. So that's, he always prepaid anyways. So the only reason that, and we did this exact same thing. Once our bills due, we wire a payment and it's just done. So we don't have to worry about that. I'm not quite sure. I can't speak on behalf of a lot of these guys if they had lines of credit or if they had different things or what was happening, but that wasn't the scenario with us. So we pay. Cards are graded before PSA ships. We pay. Before we ship, customer pays.
Yep.
I don't see how that is even an issue. Like, I want to get my stuff done. Here's the payment. It's done. You're getting graded anyways.
Yeah.
So the issue we did have, one issue we ran into when the big shipments started to pump back, all of a sudden PSA said, yeah, okay, you owe us a couple million.
Yeah.
All right, we got to figure this out. So we were able to figure it out, and we made it happen, and it worked out for everyone. And 95% of our customers, as soon as we told them, look, cards are done, they're on their way back, it was just Sherry sat in the office and was like, accept payments, accept payments, accept payments, accept payments. And it was a very, very smooth transaction for us. Fortunate.
Yeah.
Great.
And historically, so I'll touch on, I wanted you to answer that first. So I'll touch on a couple of these comments here. Green Cardboard, absolutely. Good evening. So JW Filter. So why would one want to use a bulk submitter? Now, Hockey actually partially answers this question for us. So for some of us here on this side of the border, this is important. PSA Canada, because it doesn't want to deal with customs. So you can directly submit with PSA. Obviously, you can be part of the Collectors Club, and in this case, right now they've had some stuff where it does allow you to have access to certain things. Now, with the PSA Canada thing, the reason we use that is because we've got the flat rate. So I know what the rate is, and then I know what shipping is going to be, and then I know basically what customs is going to be involved in, because it's all those numbers are included. Because for us, we're dealing with the customs side too. So when I send it over to Brad, and previously prior to him, it was Len Potty. So he was the one who previously did PSA Canada. So to answer kind of JW's question is, I have used one. I used PSA Canada, and I would give the card. Now, we used to do this at the expo. I would actually give Len the cards. I would fill in everything, and this is when I hadn't done too many. I would actually fill in the entire form. And what would happen is I'd be like, all right, can you just double check some of this stuff? And that's one thing that you can get a little bit help with. And that's something that Brad and the team did. They were able to provide some assistance. If you don't need that, though, you can fill that out yourself and whatever. Again, you can do all of these things yourself. And also, you don't have to grade. Just to be clear, this is entirely an optional thing. But what has always been easy is that if for whatever reason, and I've had cases where something was done a little bit differently, there was a customer service element to it. I knew what all the charges were up front. I knew what it was going to cost me and all that information. I was able to ask any questions I need to ask. I had somebody directly to talk to. And one time I sent it in the fall expo, and it was coming right up on the holidays. Well, the grades popped and everything was ready. They actually had the stuff back, but it was right around Christmas time. Len calls me and he goes, hey, I can send it over to you right now, but it's probably going to get stuck in the holiday rush. Do you want me to hold it a little longer, and then I'll send it right after? I said, all right, hold it a little longer. That's fine. Send it right after. It came very quickly, and boom, we're done. And I've never had any problem with over the years. I haven't submitted nearly as many as other people have, but I've definitely submitted through it. The convenience and ease has been. PSA Canada's also been around for a while, so they have a longer track record. And then Brad obviously worked with Len and that previously, and then he kind of took it over. And I've known Brad also for a while, kind of indirectly through a lot of this. And then, of course, since then, he's on the show, and then also we hung out at the Fall Expo. So it's a little different than sometimes with a lot of bulk submitters. I have a much easier time being able to. I was joking with Brad on the last live stream that once the $50 became a little bit more available, I was like, I'd be more inclined. And then he pinged me, and I was like, yeah. So I don't have a problem with it, but it's got to be your comfort level and your ease of use. I also know that Brad directly submits it. So like I said, one of the takeaway lessons here is maybe ask that question. If you're concerned about that, make sure you understand what they're actually doing. Are they actually submitting it themselves, or are they going through a fourth party? Because that's going to complicate matters, and then this is what we're talking about. And also, have they been in business a while? The PSA Canada has been going on under Platinum Promotions, but it's been quote-unquote PSA Canada for years. This
20
goes
years?
back quick.
20 years at least?
So so if you look at the first submissions online, like under our account profile, everything's on there. You can go back and 2000.
Yeah, so 22, going on 22 years.
Yeah.
So when you've been around that long and you're the biggest bulk submitter we have on this side of the border, you've got a lot of satisfied clients. So that's not going to be the case for everybody, to be fair. So it's a little bit easier for us, plus the convenience of avoiding some of that extra paperwork and hassle with it. That does make it easier for us. But of course, at any time, you can go and directly submit it. Does make total sense.
Yeah. So I asked that same question today on Clubhouse to Chris from Card Ladder.
Sure.
He submitted cards through Marx Cards. Mm-hmm. And I said,
wow.
I was like, why do you use a group submitter? So in my whole thing, when you talk about PSA Canada, why I used Len for 20 years before I took over, mm-hmm. Number one thing, shipping cards across the border, taking care of customs, taking that aspect right out of it. Like that's the number one thing, the reason that I did do that. Plus he had turnaround time and everything else. So when I asked Chris, and he was great, and he goes, well, I didn't want to fill out the paperwork. I just wanted to put my cards in a box. They did all the work for me. Mm-hmm. That was one reason. Number two was he had a little bit of a price. He got a discount compared to the rate that was posted by going through there, which was the other reason. And I think number three, I forget the other reason he said, but they're all valid.
Sure.
They're all valid points to do it. But it's shocking when you see how many people did go through.
Mm-hmm. Did they not walk them through or walk them in?
Well, that was what the idea was supposed to be. The whole point of Marx Cards is supposed to be they walk them. That's supposed to be the advantage.
That's a benefit,
Yeah, that's supposed to be. Let me put it this way. Let me use a different category because a lot of people can ask this. By the way, it's a legitimate question. I'm glad you asked it. It's fine. It gives us an opportunity to talk through the idea. And I always emphasize the two things. Grading is optional. You do not need to use it if it doesn't work for you, if it's not reasonable for you. Also, if you don't need it, then don't use it. Use whichever grader you prefer, except HEA. Don't use them. They're trash. And in addition to that, that's not controversial at all. No. But the point is that figure out what works for you. If you've got legitimate questions, there are a lot of hobbyists who have some experience who hopefully will give you just, this is what I can tell you. This is the plus minus of all this stuff. Figure it out yourself. Make up your own mind. But the other piece of it is you got to then figure out what your time is worth. Because again, the process is not rocket science. But for us, we have the customs piece as well as an added complication. And to be honest, it is a pain. Even me getting stuff shipped from stateside regularly, I have to take into account customs. It's all part of the calculation I have to do. So it's the same reason that some people use the consignment folks to sell stuff. Oh, well, why don't you just, set up your own eBay account? It's like, well, I have an eBay account. I do it myself because I'm not selling a ton of stuff. But imagine I had 200 or 300 cards. It could be 200 or 300 lots. Okay, how much time is that? What's my time worth? Following up, answering people's emails, answering questions about the lots, doing this, that, and the other thing. I could totally see why somebody would be like, look, especially imagine if you work a job that pays really well. Your time has this high value. So this time that I'm answering stupid eBay questions about, can I see the corner in 100 magnification? You could literally just pawn that off and give them their fee and move on. That's why you would use an intermediary. People don't question that as much, but it's the same idea. You're using an intermediary. Hopefully you're getting something out of the deal. It's not even just price. It's what are they then doing for you? By the way, that's a question you could also ask what is it you're doing for me for the price that I'm paying? You're not just sending in the
Convenience,
cards.
right?
Yeah,
Con-
it's convenience. Absolutely.
Sure.
And that
So
was the
real,
third thing I just thought about. It was turnaround time, which
sure.
a bulk submitter, including us, we all had better turnaround time. So it's great to see. A shameless plug, as Carlos.
By all
I love
means.
that.
It's not shameless.
Okay, good. But when I look now, all the people that were upset and everything else, and it's delayed and that, and we got all our cards back to our client. Like all those value submissions were
Yeah.
back in October. So like we got them all back to our clients. They're all done. All the big group submitters, Marx, and all these guys now, they're just starting to get the first wave of their cards back that were value. So we were 3.5, 4 months ahead. Maybe it's going to even be almost a year ahead by the time they all get the cards back. I was talking to Sherry about it today. I said, can you imagine what we would have done if we're still waiting for those cards? Because it was the worst nightmare to deal with, right?
Yeah.
So, and you can see these other group submitters that are talking about it now saying, we get calls daily from hundreds of people, and that's what it was like. But now I'm like, thank goodness. Like, I'm so happy.
There you go. So I'll read a couple of these comments just to get caught up, but there's a good question here for you, Brad. So real quick. First, Mark says, better late than never for PSA to change payment policy, and I understand that, but too bad it took leaving the barn door open before doing so. I'll make a quick kind of point, and we can touch on it more later. A lot of the hobby operated on the idea of, well, it's worked this long, don't change it. If it's, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. The possibility's always been there. Obviously now this has been, swung open and now everybody's paying attention to it. But that risk was always in play. It was always a possibility. It just hadn't been an issue on this kind of scale. Again, it's like the Logan Paul thing that we talked about earlier on the other live stream. It's like, with due respect, not to besmirch the pristine name of Baseball Card Exchange. There have been other products that have been opened at Baseball Card Exchange that were no good. But it's never been this high profile, and it's never been for this kind of money. Like, that has never occurred. But yeah, other stuff has been open that's no good. Again, nobody's track record is going to be perfect in this. We talked about some of the intricacies and also some of the difficulties. Putting your name on it is borderline impossible, and we laid out the reasons why. So if Steve Hart wants to put his name on it, sir, then you're going to have to own it when it doesn't work out, which is unfortunate, but it's part of reality.
Bob Lewis. Tough thing to have on your back, really.
It really is. Yeah.
But you're making good money doing it. So.
And now you're the meme lord. So this is great.
There you go. Yeah.
so Bob Lewis is like JW. Yep. I've heard that people think more favorable grades when they get lumped in with a bulk submitter. And there's always rumors about that. There's always rumors about that. Okay. So business 124. So this is the question for you. So it's like, have you ever had customers not pay you? If so, what happens at that point? So what's your policy on that?
So we just wait. And I know that's we are going to put that into place going forward. We're going to come up with some scenario so we avoid what I do have now. Like I said, I think of all the orders, we still have a ton sitting here that aren't paid for. A lot of them from October still. Guys simply don't have the money. And my thing is, as long as they reached out and every person that we have left now has communicated, has kind of told me their story, and hey, that's part of life. We'll hang tight. I didn't like one guy that he is actually fully paid now because I had to tell him. He was like, well, it's 40 cards. It's baseball season. I'll just wait till March probably. That will help out my cash flow because I'm not going to sell them till then. No, that's not how it works.
That's right.
So we've had guys that I think I mentioned it to you guys last night, but we've had guys that are in the restaurant, which I mean, my businesses were completely decimated when COVID hit. I had one guy that's a chef, and he flat out said, I simply don't have it. His bill was $6,000-$7,000, but he's like, I'm out of work. I don't know what I'm going to do. And then he just worked a little pieces and pieces and pieces, and that's fine. Right? Yeah. We'll get through it.
So this is almost where the Canadian stereotype kind of works into it, is that a lot of the times, now again, this is not going to be across the board all the time, for better or worse, unfortunately. A lot of times, a lot of the folks, it's rare. It's not impossible, like as Brad says. And now, from Brad's perspective, he's going to have to at least consider having some mechanisms in place but think about it. PSA Canada has been around for 20 years. Of course, over the course of time, there are going to be some folks that maybe can't pay that moment. But most of the time, it's like, all right, let's talk about it. Let's figure something out. There's a lot of parts of the hobby that have operated on kind of handshake deals and almost like, okay, let's just talk through it and let's figure something out and whatever. And most of the time, it's They've been able to figure out a way to work it out. But maybe collectively, the collective we are going to have to learn to be a little less trusting. For better or worse, it's really unfortunate, but like it's a lesson to be like, well, not everybody has your best interest in mind, and you have to have some preparation. Even if up until this point, every customer's been wonderful, you've always been able to figure out a way. You got to have something in the back just to be like, just in case of emergency, break glass. This is what we got to do.
Mhm.
And that's for Brad, and that's for everybody else, all others. And by the way, PSA basically said, okay, we're going to have to put these mechanisms in place to protect us. The bulk submitters are going to have to put mechanisms to protect themselves, and the consumers should now be wiser to ask more questions. So everybody's going to have to be a little bit more careful across the board, every part of this mechanism. So PSA put a statement. Yes, absolutely. Yep. Good evening, name. Good evening, Shane. Wonder how many people sending in cards to CC2 knew that he was not the one subbing the cards. I suspect very few.
Yeah.
And that's why, and I had a comment on the live stream to that effect. And that's why I said, that's why I didn't drown Ryan with praise. That isn't to say he's a bad guy. And in the end, he did what he needed to do to keep his reputation, to keep his business in check. He made people whole as best he could. But in this case, he kind of had to, because unless he made it blatantly clear to everybody that he was operating with an intermediary in between, most people are going to assume that you're directly submitting. They assume I'm giving you these cards. You are going to then submit them to PSA. So you got to make sure you have that covered. If you didn't tell people, well, you left out. Maybe I wouldn't have sent it to you if I had known there was another party in between. That would have changed what I would have done because you didn't give me all the information. Again, it's not the worst thing in the world because in the end he realized, I better make sure I take care of this. He cut a big old check to make sure it was taken care of. Went to PSA directly. They figured something out. He made sure the PSA got its money. They got the cards. The people got their stuff. And now he's got to figure out what comes next. Because if Marx can't pay, well, you're going to have to eat it. It's going to be a loss. It's the cost of doing business. Well, make sure you don't do that again. That was your slap on the wrist moment.
You can always say, "Why didn't you ask?" Well, why didn't you tell us?
Basically, yeah. And that's why I say a lot of implicit trust has been given in the hobby.
Oh, yes.
And we're learning very quickly. It's like, maybe don't do that. Maybe don't do that. Be a little bit more careful.
20 years is now 20 months.
That's right. I submit a bulk submission to PSA on my own, trying to figure out a way to screw myself so I can make it on Sports Card Radio. Bink Scott, I love the initiative.
Wouldn't that be it?
I love it. Mr. Lewis. Okay. Do we know if Marx had similar accounts with Beckett or SGC and BBC, etc., that wasn't paid?
Well, we don't even know.
We really don't. The reason we know what we know, the only reason I touched the story is because Ryan Card Collector 2 basically came out and just laid it out, at least from his perspective. We kept it narrow. I know they've worked with some other people. I just don't know who, and I don't know how much, and I don't know, and I'm not going to speculate. I'm not going to pretend. We can assume that if they're doing that kind of business. Now, in fairness, though, PSA is headquartered in California. They're in California. Isn't Beckett in Texas?
Yeah.
So I don't think the walk-in service would work for that. And SGC's in Florida. So I don't think they'd be able to offer the same kind of value to some, because the idea is that they can walk it in. With PSA, you can walk it in California because that's where their office is. But with SGC being in in Florida, and then Beckett, I think, is Texas, I don't think it would work the same. So I'm not going to say no for sure, but I don't think it would work the same way, at least not with Marx. Just thinking through it.
All day I've been thinking about this scenario going through my head. And imagine this one. And so some guys were talking today on social media about, well, why is PSA taking the time? They knew about this for a little while. PSA is trying to figure this whole thing out because they can't just come out and say, yeah, we're going to return everyone's card. They're very clear, the cards that we have. So all of a sudden, if you're dealing with this, and I'm not passing judgment on Marx Cards whatsoever, because you never know until it's all said and done. But when you really look into it, if I submit it and I paid 9 months ago, I wrote a check to Marx Cards, I gave them my cards. Those cards could have came back 6 months ago. So Marx Cards now has the money they paid, they sold the card. There's so many scenarios out there. Who even knows how many cards PSA has? So until they get the list and they can clarify everything, they can't do too much more. You know.
Well, I presented that. I gave a hypothetical where I said, what if you sent 100 cards, gave 100 cards to Card Collector 2, he gave 100 cards to Marx. We end up in this situation. You reach out to PSA, they do an inventory, and PSA has 80 cards. Who's to say where the 20 cards disappeared? Because you have the chain of custody is you, to Card Collector 2, Card Collector 2 to Marx, Marx to PSA. We're all going to assume that Marx took it, and I'm not going to accuse Card Collector 2 of anything. There's no reason to. Because again, he's trying his best to make sure his reputation is intact. He's got more to lose reputationally with, the podcasts and all the other stuff that's going on. They're trying to do well with media, and they've done very well in a lot of ways. So he's got more to lose with being there front facing with all that stuff going on. So everybody would then point to Marx, and more than likely, or PSA could have misplaced it. Stuff happens, but we don't know. There's no way for us to know definitively where it got lost because you added another layer to the chain of custody. So it's like, and again, you're back to the situation. If you didn't know the people were in between, and I know Bent Cardboard Sports Cards here makes a comment, and I'll touch on it in 2 seconds. But since you don't know, you've added an extra layer. The more moving parts are in a machine, the easier it is for breakdown. And now to diagnose, okay, so where did we go wrong? Which part of this process did we go wrong? It's harder now.
You know what the
Step
other
one.
no one said about what about the other scenario is, okay, so it's $100 US to submit a card now.
Mm-hmm.
How do you like the mess that this guy could have been in or was in, and so many people group submitted with him because he offered phenomenal rates. Mm-hmm. We don't know that scenario. So all of a sudden, oh yeah, it's $100 regular service. Guys paid up front because he said he was getting it for $50, which I know that's not even an option with PSA. Mm-hmm. But all of a sudden, if you could portray yourself with that, so you never know that scenario. So all of a sudden, it's like, well, yeah, all right, I charged all my customers $100 a card. I paid these guys, this group submitter over here, only $50 a card. He took the money, it's gone. I got to make this whole because I don't want any of this. There's so many scenarios out there, and hopefully
it becomes a bit of a. So I think the analogy you're using basically here is it can become a bit of a Ponzi scheme situation where you're taking money, but you're taking money to pay off something else, basically to keep the system. You're keeping the wheels moving, but you have to keep getting money from other sources to keep the wheels moving because you got to keep paying somebody. Otherwise, the game ends.
Paul, yeah.
Yeah, as long as the wheel continues to move, things are fine. The moment the wheel stops, the moment inertia and momentum cease, all of a sudden it's like, uh-oh, where's the money, dude? Right? And it becomes a real problem.
April 1st, PSA shuts down.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
April 1st?
What do you do when PSA shut down? Well, all of a sudden it's like, oh boy.
Oh yeah, April 1st. You had something predicted, Brad, remember?
Oh, this year, yeah, it's coming even quicker.
Yeah,
there you go. There you go. All right, so real quick, I'll read a couple of these comments and we'll get caught up. So Mark here says, I believe the long chain of group submitters are honest, but with some of the shady ones, I wonder if the highest graded cards in the group submission are ever switched out and kept for profit. Well, that's the other thing. But this is the other scenario I would give you. A bunch of cards are submitted. Certain cards are pretty common. So what happens if you have a whole stack of those cards? We're going to unwind this. PSA is going to get people back their cards, right? So they're going to try their best. So we got a Luka Doncic Prism Rookie, a Luka Doncic Prism Rookie, and a Luka Doncic Prism Rookie. I hope you guys put them in the right order because actually this one is a 9, this one's a 10, and this one's an 8. So which one belongs to which one of you? Mm-hmm. So if they organized it well, then we can figure it out. Like we can work that out. But if you mixed up the cards or put them in the wrong again, you added another layer, right? Card Collector 2 could have had this beautifully organized, everything labeled, everything covered, everything, and all he has to do is hand it over. I don't know if they did. I can't answer that. I don't know what they walked in. Did they walk in a big stack of cards with one big list? Or did they give individual lists that make it easier to organize and figure out what's what? I don't have the answer to that question. I'm just posing it as a thought for all of us to consider because we added that additional layer. So now we created this scenario where now we have to ask all these questions. It's not a good place to be. It's not a comfortable place. So even if you get your card back, did you get the right one? If it's a serial numbered card, by the way, and again, I take every precaution whenever I send this. I talked about these cards here. All of these a bunch of these are serial numbered. I'm going to have images front and back of all these cards, so I'll know, and I'm not so worried about Brad, but if PSA sends me back a copy and it's the wrong thing and the numbering is wrong, I'll know something went wrong. But I know because it's a serial numbered card, I can be like, this is the one that should come back. The same one that's unless it's a 10, then they can send me whatever the hell they want.
Or you sent in a 1 of 100 and 1 of 10 back.
Yeah, as long. But the point is, I can do that on my end. That's something I can do. That's my due diligence that gives me that additional layer because then I'll have copies of all the stuff and I'll know exactly what I sent out. So then what comes back should be exactly what I sent out. It should look right. Remember those images? We talked about PSA started doing the images. The card that I see on that population report should be the exact card that I sent. If I send in this Alexander Ovechkin and I get back a Mike Trout rookie, oh, all hell, holy hell will break.
Well,
It'll be the tirade to end all tirades.
has anybody looked into the timelines of Marx going bankrupt and when their last submission was?
Well, right now, it's only really been in the last day or two that the Marx going bankrupt thing is gone. And obviously, in the statement that PSA made, they stated it that way. So it's been really, we're just kind of putting the pieces together right now still. We're still in process.
Yeah, because I did hear that, a month prior they knew, or even
Could be
even prior to that.
All completely possible. I can pretty much assure you that they didn't figure this out today.
It wasn't like they were going bankrupt.
Yeah. There's been wheels moving in the background where people have been talking to each other, figuring out what to do.
Yeah, there's a good story in behind there somewhere.
Absolutely. So Peter Kleck here says, I use PSA Canada for known customs, lower per card charge, lower shipping. Yeah, and for us, a lot of times, it has allowed us, because like I said, knowing the cost up front is easy for me. And then a lot of times, because this is the way I used to do it, is that also I'd put like my credit card number and everything on the form already. And then when the time came, bill comes in, I get my charge, we're done. Payment completed. To Brad's point, then at that time especially, I would get the charge at the time that PSA had the cards ready to go, and then it's starting to head back towards me. And then the duty is a huge thing, again, on this side of the border. If you're in the U.S. and you're dealing with a U.S. thing, obviously you don't have to deal with customs. That's one less problem for you guys. So Bent Cardboard here says, CC2 mentions in reveal videos that he goes to Marx Cards. So I don't doubt that for a second. One important thing, though, is that not everybody watches reveal videos. So I'd be curious if, like, in the submission page for the to receive the cards, or if anywhere else it is mentioned, because if I'm watching the reveal, then you tell me, okay, fine, but that means a percentage of the people who watch the reveal video would then get that piece of information. Do other folks see it somewhere else? Is it clear anywhere else, written down on the website, anything? That I don't know the answer to that question. I just ask it as I pose it to everybody. Mm-hmm. I think people forget that most of the submitters, breakers, are young first-time business owners learning as they go. Not Brad. In brackets. You're not a young business owner learning as you go? No? Not so much?
Still learning.
Brad's young.
Still learning.
There you go. On a big stage. Mistakes will happen and will be magnified. Yeah, that's fair. I get you. Yep, way too many hands on them. Totally with you. Mark just mentioned in his video how sports cards have saved him from past gang life. Red flag number one. I will never discount somebody. I will never discount somebody 100% from that, because you can go and do a business. But at the same time, he's also hasn't been in the business that long. No. Like, regardless of your background, you could come from the most pristine background, but if you haven't been in the business that long, I have to then kind of think about this a little bit. Again, these are questions you should be asking ahead of time. You should be asking now.
September 2000. So
yeah, like you've had an opportunity to, again, I'm hoping that all of this is a good lesson for the consumer. Hey guys, maybe we should ask a couple questions. I gave you guys the reasons why I'm comfortable in this specific scenario is because, well, I've done business with them already in both iterations. I knew the predecessor and I know who the current person is, and I've dealt with both of them. And unlike some people in Boston, Massachusetts, or Massachusetts area, I haven't elicited rage in the previous owner. There are individuals who may be on this podcast occasionally who have elicited great horrific anger. Some individuals.
There he is.
We'll come back to that. We'll come back to that. See, the timing on his comment was perfect. It was beautiful. It was like, wow. This is why I host this show. All right, moving on. So here, can Brad expand on the process of how they separate the submissions when sending their batch to PSA? I think that's a good question. I think that's a good one. So you receive the stuff. You get my cards. You prioritize them. You put them in a velvet bag and make sure the PSA goes in with explicit instructions, 10s only. Bro, we appreciate you. But what else is in the process for the commoners? What is it for the commoners?
Sherry, Noxies, and Dropsies. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, exactly. So one of the things, I'm the only one when the orders come. So I made this rule from the beginning, and when the big volume was there, it was a little difficult, but I'm the only one that touches the cards because I think the buck stops with me. We kind of set that rule up in place because I wanted to make sure when the cards arrive, I know the cards. Again, some of the gaming and the Pokemon, that was very interesting when you're trying to go through to see what some of these cards are, and I have zero clue. Mm-hmm. So when cards arrive, we open up the package immediately. We count the cards. We take the submission form for the person. We make sure what they sent us is what's on the submission form. Mm-hmm. And believe it, quite a few times we've been short. I just had an order of 67 cards from a great guy, a good buddy of mine. And I was like, there's 66 cards here. He's like, no, man, there was definitely 67. I was like, I opened it. I just did it 66. He's like, I don't know how I could have done that. He found the card later on that night. But it's mistakes happen with things. So we limit it. So we have I wish I could turn the camera around and show you, but we have a whole shelving unit. When the orders come in, they all go in their own, kind of like a consumer's distributing used to be. You got your like the back room of Sears, right? You've got your slot, you got the boxes in there. So when the package comes, it goes in its own slot, so we know exactly where it is. So then if you look, like some of the orders that are processed, so these are some big cards, jumbo cards that are just getting ready to send in. Nice. So we transfer, we have the submission form. I write on the submission, I wrote the submission number on here. We attach the submission form to it that goes to PSA. They keep one copy comes back. Mm-hmm. So, and on inside of that, we put another plastic bag over the card with the submission number on it as well.
Okay.
Lots of handwork there. Wow.
There's a ton of handwork, and you got to remember that this is going to someone else that's going to open up this package.
Marx Cards?
So when they open up,
not anymore, Bobby. That's over now. That's over now.
I know. I'm sorry.
Because someone else is going to open it, and you want to make sure that it's done right. So then, if you see, we can show. These are all orders that are going out now. So again, orders are ready. They're all secured. They're actually triple labeled. So when you see them, this is another guy's subs ready to go. Here's another sub for a guy, Richard on top. But so we put triple labels on everything. So then they go into the secure boxes, and then we ship them. So when they come back that way as well. The one thing that I always told people is if you submit one way you could always look at it, and I used to do this myself, when cards are graded, the cert numbers are graded in consecutive order. Mm-hmm. So if you send in 25 cards, those 25 cards, unless you do it at different service levels, obviously, because you have to break it up then. But if they're all at regular grading service, they come back in consecutive order. So if you send in like this order here, these are all going to come back with cert numbers consecutively in order.
Yep. Now, one other thing quickly that I want to add to what you're talking about with the description you're giving, because you're attaching the submission form in it. The submission form then also has the name and information of the submitter.
That's it.
So, no, this is an important distinction. I'm making this, I'm actually emphasizing this for a reason. Because that means, remember, in the Marx example, PSA has to basically ask for the information and get it. Well, in this case, if the cards are sent and the submission information's there, you at least have something at the beginning to at least be able to identify some of what's going on there.
So I think, though, for them, they wouldn't do it this way.
That's what I mean. I'm making a contrast here.
Gotcha. Absolutely. Yeah.
Because by having that form there, I've got the person's name and I've got a list of their cards. Yeah. This is important because these forms have numbers on top. So from PSA's record keeping perspective, it's a hell of a lot easier to figure out which card was supposed to go with whose stuff. We're not completely guessing here. We're not relying on Brad then to tell us retroactively, even though he's got his records. PSA also has an opportunity to have their own records, and then you can compare notes if for whatever reason you need to.
Yeah, that's a good point. So like on that submission form now too, so this submission switched over to our account. So it's our name on the submission form. Mm-hmm. We write in hand on the PSA copy number 2 and 1. Mm-hmm. We put the customer's name on it. So when the boxes come back, they used to do this for Len, which was great, but the volume wasn't the size that it has been the last few years. They would write on the top of the box the person's name, and they take the person's name off the sheet. So when the box came back, I'd say, oh, Bobby Burrell's box, perfect. And then you'd know. So what happened is they still send the sheet back with the customer's names, but the sheet's inside the box and the box is taped. So that was it sounds, but from a logistics standpoint, boxes come back. I have to open up every box to find
double check,
match whose order it is. So some people were like, oh, you guys open all the boxes now. Well, I got no choice. We get someone's order back and send 20 boxes, and you're like, which one's the sheet in? And then you're like, oh, opening the boxes to find the sheet. And the amount of times on a 20-box order, we found the sheet in box 18, 19, 20. Oh. Like, it was a joke.
Yeah. So 2 big takeaways there. I wanted to make the contrast in the processes because I said not all bulk submitters do it the same way. So I'm happy for the question and thank you for the question because this is the way that Brad does it. This is the way they do it. But that gives you an extra added layer because there's more information available. PSA has more information. They have their records. You're not relying on one person's set of records. You can actually have multiple ways of checking. And they, in this case, they have to manually validate it, which is in a way good because at least you get one more set of looks, one more set of checks to make sure, hopefully, everything that you sent comes back exactly the way you expected, and hopefully your grades are good. That part is up to the grading gods. It's a different set. The content gods are good to me. I can't promise you about the grading gods. So the Marx current issue, hopefully that helped on the process. The Marx current issue is what makes CC2 promissory note concession a problem, which might be why it went public now, though the cards were retrieved by PSA. Yeah, I think it's a very fair point, Jay. That is a very fair point. So Mark here, maybe the graders should post a list of the group submitters with the running totals of cards submitted in good standing, sort of a AAA rating. It's an interesting one.
Organize that.
Yeah, I was going to say they've just gotten on the train of giving us accurate numbers. After all these years now, we actually have they have been enhancing the offering in the sense that now we're getting numbers of how many cards are coming out. We're getting a little bit more information about the timelines. We're getting a little bit more like now the new stuff that's going in is getting scanned. So you're able to scan the thing and actually see the card that you received. So you can do that for comparison's sake. That's good. But all those things have just started churning in. It's like we're adding new pros. It's like they've suddenly joined the 21st century, like accidentally at some point. It's like, oh, we're not in the 1980s anymore. Good times.
And the majority of people too, the majority of the big group submitters in the US that I know of didn't charge people up front.
Yes.
Right. So like a lot of them, when your cards come back, we'll invoice you then, doing the same system that we've
really. I'm so surprised at that.
Yeah, the majority of people, because especially you didn't know when they were coming back. Like, what? How could you even do that? Like, it's just so there's more when you look at certain things, and this is where people are scratching their heads. There's more red flags how this transpired. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, it's just a lot of it doesn't add up and doesn't make sense. Right?
No, for sure. Mm-hmm. But that's why I said, like, now everybody, I think all the bulk submitters are going to have to review their processes, because now if PSA is expecting a deposit, then either A, the bulk submitter has liquidity and they're trusting their customers and taking the collections into their own hands, or B, they will have to start asking for some of the money up front. And we're going to have to see, I guarantee you it won't be an across the board response to this. Each one is going to have to figure out what they can actually handle, because having cash and committing cash ahead of time, if you're taking a lot of submissions, that can be a lot of cash, even if it's a percentage.
Mm-hmm. And think of the good that could come out of this for the hobby, because we talked about it numerous times, the three of us, is me turning away customers because the cards just weren't worth it. Yeah. So now if the onus is on a group submitter to say, hey, I got to pay money up front for these, if these cards come back, I want to make sure I'm protected. So all of a sudden then it's not about just, and I'm not saying anyone really does this, but people would. The money grab is submit whatever you want. I'll make my buck a card. I'll make my $2, whatever it's going to be for them. Submit whatever you want. But now all of a sudden as a group submitter, you're like, I'm not going to take these 100 Todd Van Poppel 91 upper deck cards from this guy, because when they come back, if he doesn't pay, I'm out, right?
It's not just crypto. The Todd Van Poppel card economy just collapsed.
Yeah.
I may know a guy that has a box of 800. May know.
I see. I see. Understandable. Still better than Trout. Moving on. So I always got to take my shot. So JW here said, how could they have gone bankrupt in the sports card boom? I'm a believer. People can do it. I believe it. Marx hasn't made a YouTube video since November. Before that, it was 2 to 3 videos a week. Yep, that might be an indicator that something was going wrong, because suddenly dropping the content could be concerning. So this individual here, of ill repute. Hi, Carlos. First time, long, love the show. Is there any truth? That's Begley in English, I think. Is there any truth to the rumor that Brad supplied the G.I. Joe cards in the Logan Paul Pokemon box?
But he'll grade them.
The conspiracies have layers.
Brad will take
the conspiracies have layers, and layers on layers. Think about it.
I would have used.
Yeah, that would have been better.
Nothing like Pro Set Superstars.
My God. Okay, so I'm putting the StreamYard link in the chat. I'm pinning it. Again, bouncer in effect. So if any of the regulars want to pop in, the link will already be there for you. So just to let you know. Okay, Peter here says some bulk submitters are advertising unlimited economy at $50. Is something coming for economy through PSA Canada? I leave that to you if you want to answer that question.
Right. So
you can always do this.
Yeah.
You know what? I will announce this Yes, we do have $50 economy. I just don't know how to do this yet. And anyone that says unlimited, that is completely false.
I was going to say that'd be a little dangerous to promise,
Like,
because
it's
unlimited could be a lot.
So from what I've gathered is the platinum group submitters are going to get 200 cards a week, and there's another group that's going to get 100 cards per week. So when we have an allotment, I just don't know how to do this yet. Like, if I can submit 100 or 200 cards a week, how do I choose the 1,500 customers we have? Like, I just got to wrap my head around doing it. So
Yeah,
but
no, that's fair.
Yeah,
That's fair. So I would say unlimited is probably unfair. Maybe if they're saying that, maybe they're thinking that they think they've got a handle on what they would actually receive. So just something to think about, something for us to chew on. There are some folks, and I've seen some of the comments. Again, I pay attention not only to videos and stuff, I watch it for understanding as well, but I'll check comment sections. I'll watch them and I'll listen to them. And a lot of folks are like, well, I'm not sending in anything until it's under $25. It's like, well, there are other people who don't have that problem. There are other people who are looking at it and going like, even if you offered me 25, unless that limit is high enough, I would get upcharged anyway. So at $50, because I think it's $999, I think is the cap on the $50 if memory serves me. Is that $999? Yeah.
yeah, correct.
So there's a lot of stuff that falls under that category. Because I use I've talked about, so I got the Ovechkin Ultra. A lot of these are PC, but I would get charged most likely for a lot of this stuff. I got some of my Sotos. I got some of that stuff. I got a Pujols rookie in here. Like, there's some stuff that would pretty much get charged higher than $25 anyway. Like, so it's one of those things, like, you could offer me that lower grade, but I'm going to get upcharged anyway. I'm not going to save that much money. So you gotta understand what you're sending in. If folks are trying to send in $10 cards that are PC stuff, oh, then I totally understand that. Yeah, sit back and wait until it's 25 or under. I totally get that.
And you'll see PSA is going to, there's no doubt in my mind, they're going to fix this on limited because they don't want that out there.
Yeah.
And, like, that's not true. So they're going to fix that.
Yep.
So.
Mr. Eric, how's it going?
Oh, it's going good, guys. How's things?
It's going all right. It's going all right. I did like the way you phrased your comment, and Paul mimicked you beautifully. So I'm going to get a couple of these comments here. So PSA wanted to make a push for people to use group submitters, streamline the process for them. I feel like they didn't see this happening as a result. I'm going to make a bet with you, Tom, that there are people in there that at least consider the possibility. But like I said, a lot of folks in a lot of these businesses are sitting there like, we can probably get away with this. Do you think? And it's like, yeah, I think this might be. Basically, you got to have that one guy in the room who's like, so there's about 500 ways I can completely game the system. It's like, I didn't even think of that type of evil. That's literally what I do here. So you got to have one guy who thinks of like every way of gaming the system, cheating the system, doing something horrific. Lay out the worst case scenario, and you better have some kind of a countermeasure for it. You don't want to have that happen. But you got to have somebody in there who's at least willing to present the scenario and be like, what would you guys do if this happened? This is the worst case, but what would you do? Oh, crap. We don't have a plan. That's where you run in trouble.
And he comes out with a cut-off T-shirt. Yeah.
Yeah, that might be a problem. Yeah. So Paul here. Hi, Carlos, first-time listener, long-time listener, first-time caller. Can Brad give tips on inserting cards into card savers? That's tough, buddy. That's tough. I'll take his answer off the air. Very nice, Paul. Very nice. So here, Brad to the LA. I saw LA Real System and lost. Other than that, you lost me. So I'm not sure about that one. There's a couple of components there, and I'm not sure how they all come together. But I saw LA Real System. I got that.
Marx did
lost in the LA Real System. Yeah, could be. Yeah. So Jay here says I'm in the U.S., but I kind of want to submit through Brad. I've had good experiences. Like I said, for PSA Canada in general, I have had good experiences under both regimes. And I've gotten along well with both regimes. Some people have not gotten along with previous regimes. But there are people that elicit the type of anger and fury in people that may be reflective on them more than anybody else.
Mm-hmm. Well, hey, Brad, if it is unlimited, you might get people coming over the border to submit with you.
There you go. Yeah. Laws of unintended consequences have now been repealed. That's right. Good evening, Baz. They went bankrupt and possibly held on to prepaid money to deposit. Yeah, that's basically the hang up here with the Marx thing. It's not even that they went bankrupt. It's that they went bankrupt after taking money from people for a service for service that the money was never transferred over. Because at that point, if you're going to do it and you're actually going to complete the transaction, it's supposed to be held in escrow. Like if you're going to do it, it's escrow. Basically, you're holding the money until PSA sends the bill, and then you pay the bill, and then that's it.
Now,
Without
would
that,
they have went bankrupt if they didn't do all this? Because I know they were building a store and all this other stuff too. So I think they kind of got over their heels and went down with the ship.
As soon as you're entering into a cash heavy investment, you're doing something where you're putting money in. Did you actually have enough money to do it? Or did you think because there's a backlog, because it was taking time, did you think you just had an interest-free loan?
Yes.
Because that's a problem. Because then if you're not able to become profitable and then put the money back where it was supposed to be in the first place, that's a problem.
We don't know.
Yeah, how dare you besmirch the name of Todd Van Poppel? These are facts. Next he's going to say that about the greats of the greats, the goat of goats, Siggy Palfy? Never. Never. Marx invested heavily in Henry Ruggs III, trying to cover the million. Now we're seeing the outcome. Tragedy. Assumed for the selection of 200 cards, preference will be given to participants of the BIC livestream. I can neither confirm nor deny this rumor. Are those cards in Beckett Shields? They are. I enjoy the irony. It makes me happy. They really are. That's the best
I just
part.
don't want you to complain.
By the way, I'm very impressed you eyeballed it from a distance. It's like, that is accurate. They are Beckett Shield.
Everything comes back a 3. I don't know why.
Well, we're already past 3, so I told you, so that means 6.
Yeah.
We got to get to 6 then. We need 2.
That's
So
kind of that's the BCCG kind of grading thing.
There you go. How many memes can Lamim James make from all these card issues the past week? Unlimited.
Yes.
That one is unlimited. So here you go. So Will, good evening. So what about when a grading company sends the wrong cards, or even if an auction house sends the wrong item? If the items are way more valuable, thoughts on what to do? I like the way the question is phrased. I like the way the question is phrased.
What happened?
It's like, Will, are you asking for a friend?
Yes.
We're always asking for friends around here. It's like we never admit anything. Everything is alleged, only alleged. So the reality is, like, look, if a grading company sends the wrong cards, I've seen this scenario play out like action YouTube videos, and they reach out to the grading company and do it. I guess the question is, do you believe in hobby karma? I guess is what it really comes out. Do you believe in it? It's like at a smaller level. If you really think about this, it's like if you go to the grocery store, they ring up the stuff and they screw up and they actually completely miss scanning one thing, and you walk right out the door with it. Are you going to turn around and be like, "Hey, you didn't charge me for this," or are you going to walk to your car?
Not.
Or are you going to walk to your car? But again, it depends, right? And it also depends. For some folks, they're going to be like, "Oh no,
car."
Yeah, exactly." But for some folks, they're going to be like, "Well, how valuable is valuable?" If it's $500, take it back. If it's a Tom Brady contenders rookie, it's like, Carlos, what did you do? I definitely didn't sell it, if that's what you're thinking. It definitely ended up in the Golden Premier auction, if that's what you're thinking. How dare you accuse me?
He sent it in for grading.
I know. Yep, tell us more. Exactly. Will is asking for a friend. So that's kind of my half joking, half serious answer. Does anybody else want to take a stab at it? Like, honestly, if an auction house sends the wrong item, if it's not a crazy item, there's times where sometimes you can tell them, and if the auction house knows they did it wrong, they could ask for it back. But if it's not a crazy item, they'll be like, you know what, we'll reimburse the proper person. Sometimes they'll be like, you know what, it's not even worth the effort to send back.
Yeah.
But if it's a legitimate valuable item, well then, again, do you believe in hobby karma or not? Is that a thing that would bother you? I can't answer that for you. Your mileage may vary. 100%. Did you buy a case of Pokemon First Edition? It's inside of a hockey case that may be in Bobby's background.
Oh, yeah. 71.
That's where it was. That's where it was.
There it is.
Just saying. Yep, Steve Hart has taken Lamim's crown. Meme Lord. I believe the PSA shutdown last year crushed his business. That could be. Yeah, it's possible. Using all the submission money to fund his card shop. Yeah, that's one of the theories out there. Again, it's a theory. We know the money didn't get where it was supposed to. That's the only part we definitively know. We know the money was there,
right?
And then it didn't get to where it was supposed to go. And somewhere between where it got and where it was supposed to go, it disappeared. That's the part we know. The rest is conjecture. Comsey sent me 10 extra cards in my shipment. Would not front the shipping return fee to send back to them. Still really like LC.
Thank you for the 10 cards.
Yeah, pretty much. Love it. Yeah. The voice of Goldberg, who's next? Love it.
Who's next?
Love the reference. Now, one of the other, so we touched on a couple of the consequences. And again, if you guys have any other thoughts or questions, throw them in. Throw them in the chat. We'll get through them. So we're caught up. So that's good. But like I said, we touched on it a little bit. It's good that PSA is going to refine its process. It's good that they reviewed it and are going to make some changes to it. Now, we talked earlier about what your current process is, Brad. Does the fact that they're going to do a deposit thing, does that change it? Or are you still planning on doing it at invoice time still? Or is that something to be debated?
Yeah, it doesn't change anything for us.
Okay, fair enough.
That's good.
No, we'll keep on. Again, obviously, if there's a point where volumes, but based on these volumes, we'll just.
Okay.
It's no problem at all. And I've been preaching for the last 6 months. Give a prepay allotment. Mm-hmm. Tell us at PSA Canada that we can submit 1,000 cards at $50, and we'll send the money with our allotment. Because that was one of the things that people tend to forget too. And you can see the scaling that PSA has done. Mm-hmm. And if you submit on your own right now, you send in your form, you put your credit card down, as long as it has a valid expiry date, your cards are in there. How many people's cards do you think are getting declined? Or the expiry is gone, is changed now, it's been a year, or it's from that standpoint, the whole submitting it in and just waiting, it's tough on them. Their accounting department and what they're dealing with down there. If it was just a simple process, cards are graded, boom, customer pays, send them back. But if I'm dealing it on this scale at such a minor piece, right? When we got those 150,000 cards back, I was like, well, it felt like the world just arrived in Halifax, and that's 3 days work. That's all. They're doing that every 3 days, shipping these cards.
Well, that's why I try to put the numbers in context. And actually, I'm going to try to pull up something. By the way, if you guys are ever interested in any of this stuff yourselves, I do recommend GemRate on Instagram. GemRate on Instagram actually does some really good work. They've got a website as well. You can definitely check it out. But they do a really good job providing different types of stats. It's very interesting stuff if you're interested in that kind of thing. But one of the things that I like, that I enjoy, is that they've started taking information from SGC and BGS as well. And one of the really cool things that they'll provide information on is they'll actually do a comparison of the three in terms of how much they've actually processed in the previous day. So they give you context. They'll show PSA at around 40,000 cards. That's where they've pretty much averaged for a while now. They'll have some days where it's higher, some days where it's lower, but they're averaging in and around that number. BGS is right now much lower because obviously they've been a black box for so long. They've hurt themselves. But SGC, I think, is around 3,000 to 4,000, sometimes a little above. So right now, SGC, by the way, credit to them. They've done a very good job so far, of maintaining. They've been able to process. They did ramp up. So I want to give them the credit. I want to give them the credit for it. But they're still operating at 10% of PSA's capacity. So imagine if for some reason all the PSA folks that get mad, all the folks that get mad at PSA, decided to shift all their business to SGC, and 1 day of PSA's volume is 10 days for SGC. Immediately, you've got over a week backlog on 1 day's processing. And then the next day, and then the next day. And all you have to do is just hit the average. You hit that average, inside of a week, you're backed up for months. And they can't process it. And they can't expand 10x. It's impossible at this stage. That's why I say all these third-party graders, except HGA, have a place in the hobby, except HGA. But they have different utilities. I say it's a different tool for different jobs. I'm not sitting here. We got Brad here, and he's PSA Canada, but I'm not telling everybody to submit to PSA. Do it if it makes sense to you. Do it if it works. By the way, there are a lot of cards would be SGC will be good for you. I think that makes sense. Yeah, for sure. And like I said, SGC becomes more viable for certain things, PC-wise, at a slightly lower price point. I did a video where I specifically compared it. And I said to them, guys, if I was sending certain PC cards that are a little less expensive, CSG's offering is actually pretty good at about $12 a card-ish. That's not bad. That's pretty solid. So for certain cards, it would make sense. For these ones, PSA makes sense. I'm being very specific and very selective on what makes sense for what scenario. it's not one size fits all. You got to use a little bit of common sense. So Will here says, I think I've heard people's backlog is still 8 months or whatever away. People just speculating, but I wonder if Marx Cards thought they'd have longer to recoup. It's always a possibility. I will say the problem is trying to calculate the backlog is, number one, you're trying to figure out what the backlog is. You don't know. But number two, if they do expand, and that'll kind of play into this thought here. Good evening. Any news in the PSA Jersey office? So if they open up that second office, which is in the plans here, and all of a sudden capacity expands, and this is out on the East Coast, so you could theoretically expand capacity. What happens if PSA can do 100,000 cards a day? That backlog can get eaten pretty quick. If you maintain an 80-20 split, that's a very large number of cards that can go out the door from that backlog. And you can start really taking big bites out of it. So do you want to give there been any recent updates on the office thing? Anything you can say?
Yeah, I think it's been like public knowledge out there. Really, anything I get from PSA, I don't get anything behind the scenes. Everything I get is public knowledge. So yeah, New Jersey office, I think by the end of this year, they'll be up and running. And they're also working on their overseas operations first. And also we've been in talks since I've started with PSA Canada about the expansion to Canada. So they're all on the table. And, but again, it's a lot of work to do these facilities. But I think, Carlos, when you summed it up, like what if all of a sudden PSA gets their other office opened up here? They get a European office opened up. Like I repeat myself on the phone every day when people say, so you grade cards in Halifax. It's like every card that PSA grades is graded in Santa Ana, California. Yeah. And it's just like I'm on repeat of that. It's like PSA Japan, every card comes over. Ludkin's, the big submitters in Europe that looks after most of those areas, every card is shipped to PSA in California. Like that's one of the perceptions that people forget, right? Mm-hmm. So yeah, when that office opens up, and I still, obviously, PSA knows, the company got purchased for $1 billion. They're doing all these expansions. From a hobby standpoint, it makes me awful happy when you think these expansions, if PSA gets their capabilities up to 80,000, 100,000 cards a day, like that's a lot of cards. Like either look out other grading companies. The overlords are really going to take over.
Oh, he's invoking the overlords, Eric. Everybody knows how much I love the invocation of the overlords. Right? But right now we're only dealing with one Fanatics overlords. We'll talk about these other overlords briefly. But I will allow it.
It's so many cards.
It is.
So many cards coming out. But it's great to see. These guys know. Obviously, they're not expanding. They're not doing these things unless they know the demand is out there for long term. Mm-hmm. And it is, right? So.
Sure. No, that makes sense. I'm with you. Thank you for that. So there's actually a good question about that. Let me skip ahead for a second. I'm going to touch on it here, but we'll get into this. So Business 124 says, is there really a market for 80 to 100,000 cards to be graded daily long term? That's a lot of demand. I agree with you. So let me give my thoughts, and then please feel free, gentlemen, to chime in. Today, at current prices, no, certainly not. It would be predominantly to take care of backlog. However, if you have this kind of capacity, then your $20 grading becomes viable. Sub $20 grading for maybe PSA set registry, somebody who wants to work on a big set and wants to be able to send it in, quarterly specials and the kind of thing they used to do, that becomes way more viable. Because at that point, you could take really bulk submissions on some of this. And trust me, some of those PSA registry guys who are doing like 70s baseball sets, they need 700 cards for that. Just the one set. So it's like, if they're doing a set registry on that, I don't know what that'll look like, but it becomes possible. And here's the fun part. If PSA does that, again, if, all hypotheticals, they could undercut their competitors. Because if PSA is able to do $10, $15 a card, SGC has to respond to a certain degree. They're not going to lose all their business, but it's like, it becomes really hard. So if SGC's 30 and PSA can do 20, and PSA's resale is higher, who am I going to send it to? Hold on, let me get a calculator. Eric, fire up the abacus. We can figure this out. We'll do it together. But like, it becomes a math problem. It becomes a very straightforward math problem at that. It's just common sense. Like, I'm grading agnostic. Again, we have Brad here because he's giving insight and because he's a friend of the show and he's a buddy offline and all the 9 yards. We sit there and we chat and we were BSing last night about a whole bunch of stuff. But the point is that I'm not promoting PSA. It is not my job to promote PSA. Again, the only overlords that I will do, and I will sell out so hard. Josh Luber, I'm telling you right now. You send it in, and it'll be all Fanatics all day long. All these other manufacturers are trash. I will trash Brian Gray as a segment. Don't worry, I got material for days.
The show will now be called Because I'm Fanatics.
That's right. Absolutely. Done. Biff it is. But the point is that no, it's not to promote one specific third-party grader, but we can give insight. We can give some. I'm telling you, logic and common sense here. Like, if the biggest player in the space can offer a competitive value product, it forces the other players to adapt. Like, that's. I'm not going out of left field here. I'm just telling you common sense. Like, that's it.
Basic math.
Yeah, it's just math at that point. Like, what are we going to do here? But just bear that in mind. It's kind of important. So here, Mark has a question. So Brad, not asking how much you make per card, but how the heck can a group submitter that does as much detail work as you do make enough to account for the time, material, supplies, and labor? So this is kind of the business model thing, and it's a legitimate thing because there has to be some markup to make it worth your time. Because again, if you submit it directly, there's all these things, there's contracts, there's things you have to do to make it work, but then time has value. Time is money, as they say.
So they're not asking how much you make per card, but just how much do you make per card.
Yeah.
Could by the way, if you want to do a share screen, we can put up the spreadsheets, we'll put up the pie charts, it'll be good. We'll analyze it.
Well, from what I hear, he just made $3.5 million with that G.I. Joe scam. So
Yeah. No,
You'll get your cut if you shut up, Eric.
Too late.
Think of how many Bobby Orrs you can buy.
Pay me to silence me. Hurry up.
No, I don't need to pay you to silence you. Keep talking.
We'll grade them for free at $1 profit each. Go ahead.
What's that? I can't hear you. Could you be a
Brad.
little louder? Could you speak a little louder there, Eric? See, I don't need to pay him to silence him. I got a button for that. Go ahead, Brad.
Yeah.
Touch on this in whatever manner you feel comfortable.
Sure.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Right. If you look at what we've done in the last year and you want to put it into an hourly rate, there's about 10,000 other jobs that we should be doing. But
So you're saying it's like YouTube content creation?
Exactly.
Allegedly. Not allegedly.
Book writing,
Factually.
penny an hour.
Factually, yeah.
But it's the other side. It's part of the long term, the commitment of switching careers and going into something that you love every day, and again, 95% of the time that we're dealing with PSA orders, it's great. 5% of the time it was a nightmare, but we did learn to drop people and get rid of people and say no to people, which is great, and I'm super happy that we have eliminated a lot of people that we were dealing with and going forward. But it's not like we're not going to get rich off of this by any means whatsoever.
Sure.
There's a ton of work that goes into it, and you do some things on the back end as well. When people have cards coming back, you facilitate transactions with other people. Where cards are at, where they're going to. Like, I've helped more people sell cards in the last year than some of them we bought ourselves. Some of them we just happy to say, here, connect the right person with this person. It's all building that network up. It's just
It's PWCC. We got Brad.
Yeah. Well, but it's almost. But the thing is, if we're using common sense here, I think it's important, and I think Mark's question is a good one. And I think really what Brad is alluding to here with you is that it is one component of an overarching business. It is not like this is not the only thing they do, because you're right. You can't make it work. Brad does other types of work in other areas. He's got other businesses. He has been successful in other areas. This is an area that he enjoys doing. It's part of it, but it's part of an overall portfolio, so to speak. It's why we talk about our good friend Jeff Wilson that everybody loves to rag on. It's like, guys, the sports card thing is one component of a portfolio of things. If he tried to be just sports cards, then yeah, all those risk factors you're talking about, if the sports card thing goes under, he's got like 8 other businesses. Yeah. But the sports card thing has done reasonably well for him. He doesn't make money making YouTube videos. That's not his job. The job of the YouTube videos is to sell the software product that he charges you $50 a month for. That's where the money is. And by the way, that's still one of his 8 businesses. That one doesn't work. Get out of that business and move into a different one.
Yeah. There is many times I've talked to some of the customers out there where I've said, and I've been very blunt after a while, it's like, I appreciate the 20 emails. the phone calls, the just the nonstopness. But just so you're clear, and I never like to bring the money aspect in, but sometimes you really have to set someone straight. I'm like, we made $5 on your order. We've now been back and forth on 20 emails where you want us to ship your cards back in half your order. We lose money on some orders, but you have to put that narrative out there. Someone says, "Oh yeah, well I just spent $300 to grade that card." Well, we made $5. You know what I mean? Like, I get that, but it is a component of it. So you just got to be a little more respectful to say, "Hey, thanks guys, I appreciate what you did for me." And again, then you work on volume. Well, there's not a lot of volume when you're working at what we've worked for the last 7 months since the shutdown. Like, you know, you're taking people's cards in and you're sending in an order, even though we're sending in 300-400. I'm sending 1,000 in on Monday.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's we enjoy it. So that's
I would say another aspect of it is this is maybe it's good. Tonight is the night of dispelling myths, and one of the other great myths is that margin in a lot of hobby related businesses is minuscule, like it's microscopic. So like we'll see the big dollar transactions, we'll see the big dollar sales, but those are anomalies. Those are not like the standard. The vast majority of the money that moves in the hobbies is like $5, $10, $50 cards, $100 cards. Like it's not at the $1 million plus category. No. They'll get headlines. Those are exciting, but that's not the norm. That's it'll happen when it happens.
If the norm, they wouldn't make the headlines.
That's right. So like the vast majority is basically the bread and potatoes of the business. But you don't make a ton of money in the bread and potatoes. Like it's there, that's fine, but it's small margins across the board for everybody. So vintage looks great in SGC, but not a fan of SGC for modern stuff. And so a lot of folks have that kind of thing. I think PSA is neutral enough for the cards that look good. Uniform is a big deal. That's what I mean. A lot of folks do make their selections based on the look. So if you bring the price point into alignment, then people are going to make decisions based on exactly that. If you make it an even playing field, it gets real interesting. So good evening, Ty. Peter here says gem rate data for January 21st, 40,000, 40K for PSA, Beckett 2.7 and SGC 2.6. Okay, so then Beckett had a good day. But you can see, look, the discrepancy. You add the two of them up, that's 1/8 of the PSA total volume. And by the way, SGC is doing a great job. Like I said, I gave them their flowers earlier, deservedly so. But like, guys, when people talk about SGC is gaining market share, on what? Do you know what market share is? That discrepancy is that PSA gained market share today. And they gained market share yesterday and the day before, because the pile of PSA keeps going like this, and the Beckett and SGC one is going like this. Yes, it's growing, but the gap is actually getting more pronounced. We're actually getting a higher percent of PSA slabs overall, not lower. That's market share. If I pull the flawless triple logo man, I'm going to send CSG to watch the hobby flip out. I like it, Will. I like it. And then we touched on this one a little earlier. Bob Jackson here says he's invoking the Overlords button. Agreed. It's like the red button, but this one is for Overlords and not red. Thank you, Bob.
It's the big O button.
I appreciate that button. I appreciate
top left corner. Yeah.
Well, look, we already talked. Brian Gray's red button is looking weak right now. The Overlords button's a real thing. Yeah, so there it is. The manpower all set up. Yep. Ah, yes. Louis Anderson and also Meatloaf.
Yeah,
so
I know.
RIP to both. RIP to both. As PSA prices drop, do we not think we'll crash the market? The less you're in a card, the less you're selling for. I like this question. I think it's a good one. So in theory, sort of, but not exactly. Because there are cheap cards on the market, does that crash the market? Not everybody wants them. Yes, as PSA prices drop, you can get more submissions. But some of that stuff's going to be PC stuff that isn't really a concern in this situation. The quality stuff is still quality. The tougher to find stuff is still tougher to find stuff. People will go after the quality stuff and pay more. The stuff that's really common and available, and they can then downplay it and it costs less. The market will find its equilibrium. Just because you say, there's a lot of cards in existence too, graded and ungraded. So if they were available in abundance before, making them graded isn't going to make them. So it means the premium will shrink on really common stuff. But if it's a one of one, in and out of a holder, it's a one of one. And you've got these people chasing after it, then it's going to get to whatever the price is going to get to, whether it's in the holder or out of the holder. So a lot of it is going to depend on what you submit and what it is and how rare it actually is. Or more importantly, how desirable it is. Because you can have something that's rare, but if nobody wants it, then no one cares.
I just think that when these millions and millions of cards that went in the last year and a half to all these grading companies get turned around and come back out to the market, the numbers, the population reports, the numbers are going to explode. And now, when there used to be 50 tens of card X, there's now 275, and your value just went down.
Mm-hmm.
So I've said all along that if anything's going to crash the market, it's going to be that everything is slabbed, everything is, the population report. All you could do is just go to PSA and say, well, there's 475 others of these I can get. So I think that's a major concern, is when they all turn around and come back. And if you drop the price, more people are going to send stuff in. Those are going to turn around and come back.
A lot of different things there, I guess, to unpackage. But I guess if you look at the current hockey card market, there's a lot of guys who are still playing and have potential of great careers, or maybe not. So those cards can go up too on top of that, even though, there's 50 and then there's 250. Well, you need 250 because satisfy the market, because they're playing is that much better as things going on. And the vintage part, I think it's affected far less than that, personally. So the newer market, that's my speculation as a vintage guy. So
well, every year a vintage card gets older, and there's another 365 days where it could have got damaged or dinged or thrown away, or a fire or a flood. New cards, they're going to have to wait 50 years before they start disappearing.
No, you just need to read through the Boston Tea Party. We'll throw all the prism in there.
Yeah.
We can handle it in a weekend, man. Like, you're just not being creative enough. We can handle that. That's easy. When do you say so? The big point, though, I think the overarching point, though, to Will's question and Will's thought is the truth is that it's still going to be based on supply and demand economics. Because for some stuff, crash the market? No. Crash certain segments? Sure. Because the thing is, the whole vintage versus ultra modern thing, and I probably will have to do the video at some point because people think that vintage has this magic thing. It's like, no, it isn't. It's just the supply is static. The supply stays pretty consistent. The only thing it can do is drop if attrition happens. That's what Eric was talking about, attrition. However, if we find a big cachet, we finally go into the Bobby Burrell compound and find out there's 5,052 tops Manos just sitting there in a pile. Well, actually, there's more of these than we thought. Never mind. Who knew?
More
T206 Honus Wagner's. What the hell is this? It's behind the trinkets. Move the trinkets. It's all there. You just have to look for it. It was just sitting there all along. Yeah, it was just sitting there all along, you guys. But the point is that as time goes on, I'll give you guys a short version of the thesis. As time goes on, the amount of finds we have are going to decrease. We found a lot of the stuff. That doesn't mean we're never going to find anything again. That's not true. And there's stuff that's sitting in collections that people don't really know about and will eventually come back. That's technically not new, but it'll be fresh to the market. But if somebody with a gigantic collection dies and the family sells it off and suddenly it's on the market, all the set builders and all the people that wanted this, that, and the other thing, all of a sudden they can get their copy. Now they're out of the market demand-wise. If there isn't additional demand to fill in the gap, then all of a sudden those vintage cards start dropping in price as they start selling. Why? But they're no less rare than before. Yes, but the demand dropped because the set builders are a dying breed. They're not gone, but they're a dying breed. But as soon as they finish their set, unless you want to build a second set, a third set, a fourth set, where's the additional demand going to come from? As soon as I have the card I needed for my set, I don't need to buy it again. And if the supply is still there, if I can go on eBay and just buy it right now, it's like, well, then I guess it's not that valuable then. It's worth whatever the market will bear. So actually, the supply might be more than sufficient for some of these. The big star cards, the Gordie Howes, the Mickey Mantles, those remain popular because some people just want to buy that Gordie Howe, just want to buy that Mickey Mantle, just want to buy that Bobby Orr, but they don't care about the common guy that is 3 cards down. Unless they're doing the set. So that's what I mean. Like, vintage has had a good run because the supply is stable and the demand is enough to keep moving it over time comfortably at a comfortable rate. But if the demand ever was to dip, it would actually be easier to crash it. It'd also be easier to boost it if you just artificially boost the demand. So you can actually manipulate. We saw that spike in 2016. We saw all they had to do was buy a couple and boom, the price went like that. So it's easy to manipulate. You can mess with it if you want to. But if you like it, great, collect it and enjoy. But just understand those are real supply demand. Vintage is not immune from supply demand. It's the same idea. What's the supply? What's the demand?
And the majority of those cards that are coming back now, they're not going to affect, like I know, Eric, you
No.
talked about affecting the pop report. Yeah, they're going to affect, the majority of them are TCG. The majority of them are modern basketball. There's more Kobe Whites and Tyler Heroes. And again, if you're in that space, I think it's affected. I bet you, if you take a young gun, like a Nick Ehlers or someone random like that, that's in that $20 to $30 range, I bet you there's no more than a handful of those cards in the backlog, if any. Like, you really look now, so I don't think it's going to affect all that when these cards come back. Obviously, there's still a bunch of cards at PSA, but the clip that they're going at now, using 80% of their whole force, which keeps on getting bigger and bigger to hammer out this backlog, the backlog is going to be done a lot sooner than people think. And I think you the way that you can tell that is, Carlos, you can go on this much better than I can, but its simple point is they offered $100. They open up regular.
Mm-hmm.
Boom. All of a sudden, regulars open up. It's like, ooh, all right, well, we still want 80% to go to the backlog, 20% is doing new stuff. All of a sudden, not too long after they open regular, boom, $50 are out there.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to stick with that plan, 80% to the backlog, 20% to new stuff. So now you're just going to see. So you kind of know that things are gradually all coming into place, and the backlog is going to be done sooner than later. Right?
Yeah,
So,
you can see an acceleration. Is basically what you're looking at. We don't know what the total is in the back end, but we do know that they are finding themselves comfortable enough that they can absorb the new business. As long as they maintain that ratio and they're able to absorb that new business, it means the math is starting to skew in their favor. It's like when somebody is paying off their mortgage, you make the same payment, but it's actually decreasing the principal faster and faster and faster. You're making greater and greater progress, and it's accelerating. So all of a sudden, that 80% capacity is actually taking a bigger and bigger dent of what's left, which is a good thing. And that means some folks are going to be really mad because they have to wait a long time, and deservedly so. I can't say they're wrong. They're not. But for people submitting new stuff, they're getting their stuff back pretty quick because it's surprising people. It's like, actually, it's coming back quicker than you think, which is to say they're processing it and getting it right back out the door. So
yeah, we were so our first regular service order was December 27th. That it arrived at PSA. It was entered in the system on December 29th, and I've got my last box coming back on Monday. So it's a 90-day at the regular rate, and what's that? Just over 3 weeks from door to door.
That's about right.
So,
which is pretty good for a 90-day offer.
Yeah.
It's funny in the vintage card market. If you look at, you're saying there's less set collectors. It'll make the market drop if there's
over time. There's less, because some people finish sets, so then they're out of that game.
I understand. So that drops the price of the commons down, and it makes it more affordable for other people to pick up and going, hey, listen, I can pick up the commons for $1 each now. Hey, why not? So that'll actually
it could.
There was a dramatic change back, I don't know, 6, 7 years ago, 8 years, 10 years ago. The 33 O-Pee-Chee set. Mm-hmm. It was really high. It was really doing well, and then it just kind of tanked, and nobody wanted to collect it. And they were dropped. And then a whole bunch of collectors swooned in again, and they said, "Hey, I'm collecting these. They're 3s and 4s," and bam, it went right back up, and it hasn't stopped. So that was a very typical example of what happened there. They became so affordable that it got more people interested, and they bought into it, and which raised the price, and it has carried since. So. Mm-hmm. And those went crazy anyway. So,
Eric, are you going to start doing some random sets?
If they're cheap enough, yes.
Can I drop the price to you? Because here's my counter to this. You could drop it to 5 cents, and if I don't give a crap about the set, I don't care. I can save 5 cents by not buying it. And I collect vintage, but it's like I need to like the set. I actually have to be interested in the set. You can make it as cheap as you want. I don't care.
If it's a 91 Pro set, you wouldn't care.
I don't care if it's 1933. I don't care if it's 1932. I don't care if it's 1905. I don't give a crap. You can make it free. You're going to have to pay me to take it. Because if I don't care about it, you're going to need to pay me to take it.
There's a whole bunch of stuff in people's houses that they just bought because it was cheap.
And
it always will happen.
Here's a piece of advice for
everybody.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Buy the thing you actually want. Spend the money on that. Don't buy the cheap thing just because it's cheap. If you want it, then buy it.
Because I stay in my lane. If I'm at a show, like I'm planning on going to a show tomorrow, and I'll go through the dollar box, the 50-cent box, and if there's vintage cards in there, I'll grab them. And I'll see if they'll fit in a set, and if not, they're just going to go in the extra box. And maybe it'll replace. Maybe it's better than the one that I have, and I'll replace it and put that one in the extra box. But if I can get them super cheap, and if it's vintage, I'm scoffing them up.
No, that's the reason I asked the question. I don't doubt what Bobby's saying. I just think it's stupid. But you guys do you. You're literally spending money for no reason when you don't actually have to. But that's on you.
But if I come home with 50 cards that I get to sit at my desk and play with, and I only spent somewhere between $5 and $10, where else am I going to have a fun for $5?
We all choose to do what we want. Some people get their things FedExed for no apparent reason, just because they want them quicker and they want to pay 10 times as much.
Paying quick, getting something quicker is impatience. That's a convenience tax, Bobby. I would have had to pay shipping no matter what. If I'm going to get it shipped, I have to pay for shipping.
A good psychologist worth his salt wouldn't say there's no difference between the two.
Buying something you literally don't have to buy that costs zero if you don't buy it,
and shipping something you really don't have to get tomorrow.
I can't go I'm not going from zero. In not buying something, I'm literally going from zero. Not buying it is zero. Buying it is whatever the cost is. Shipping it is still going to cost me something, no matter what. I'm spending some money, guaranteed.
Canada Post $6 or $45. Okay.
I'm not getting Canada Post from the U.S., Bobby.
No, well, whatever. USPS.
Yeah.
Same difference. Anyways, that's an argument you can have with somebody else about that. I don't really care. If something's cheap on a table, you kind of look at it and go, hey, listen, for $5, that's a nice kind of set. I don't mind having it. And we put these things. That's why I have a room full of stuff. Mm-hmm. That's why you have the Z folios full of stuff over there.
Yeah, I have one shelf of Z folios, not a closet full of Z folios.
Well, you got a closet full of other shit. Don't worry.
I've actually thrown most of that shit out already. It's gone in the dumpster.
There you go.
Yeah.
So recycling. So we pick up things all along our way and all through our travels. And sometimes you don't know you're interested in something until you see it. And that's the thing about collecting. And if you're worried about paying $5, $10 for something, then you got problems. You shouldn't be in the hobby.
I think that's good advice.
But I also think it's stay in your lane. If you're just going to grab anything, then your house is going to be
Well, then that's where the hoarding show comes in. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, it's vintage hockey. If it is vintage hockey and it's obtainable, I'll obtain it.
Yeah, old Boston Bruin. If you get something cheap, why not? Old Leaf stuff, something I never knew I planned on it, and it's there, and it's half decent price, $50. Sure. Hey, we do that at the show all the time. Because if we went with just our checklist and bought only on our checklist, the dealers wouldn't be there very long.
That's true.
It's what you see is what you like. You don't know what you like until you sometimes see it.
And I just love finding things I didn't know existed, or a picture. Because Bobby, you've been doing vintage hockey longer than me. You think you've seen everything, whether it's in a picture or online or at a show. And then all of a sudden you come up, you look at this table and you go, I had no idea. I've never seen this photo before. I've never seen this item before. And it just blows you away.
I live for that. Yeah.
It's like a little kid on Christmas.
Basically. Yeah. So it's fun.
There you go.
But we all have whatever way we want to spend our dollars. It's whatever you can afford. Nobody needs a $5 million trout, do they?
It's $4 million. Come on, it's a bargain.
I gotcha.
$4 million. It's a bargain. We knocked $1 million off. If PSA gets to $15 to $20, could buy Beckett, SGC, and HGA. It will hurt a lot of the other ones. That's why I say it'll make it a more competitive landscape.
Well, I
think
SGC will drop their price.
I think they're in a position to be able to do that. Yeah. BGS, Lord knows what they're going to do. HGA would immediately become a meaningless value proposition because
it's still around.
Theoretically. But it's one of those things what they're providing is actually very expensive relative to what you're getting out of it. So it's one of those things. As soon as you're dropping that lower price, it's so literally, what do I need you for?
No reason.
Yeah. I hope you really like vertical slabs. I hope that makes you happy enough if that works for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wonder if there's a time when PSA slabs become so commonplace. There's almost 40 million of them in circulation now.
Yeah.
How much more commonplace do you need? The BGS and SGC slabs become more rare, thus more desirable. Well, that is expanding over time, but apparently that hasn't brought people to paying more.
Mm-hmm.
You know what's really rare? KSA slabs.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
There you go.
Oh, they are
If we can get the U.S. market to buy it, we can get rid of that shit finally.
No,
Not a chance.
I have one. I wanted the card inside of it, and I bought the card, not the slab, but I
Oh,
no,
you got
I,
the slab with it. Don't worry.
Oh, you get the slab. No matter what. If it's KSA, you got the slab.
I want no part of that crap.
Poor Nathan.
So you're saying Brad is the Canadian Jeff Wilson?
Oh, wouldn't that be something?
Oh no!
Good evening, Victor.
Did you say there's 40, Carlos? Did you say there's 40 million?
It's close to that. Yeah, it's 30 and change. It's like high 30s, almost 40 million. Yeah.
So when you do think about like this is where this number even blows my mind away. 100,000 cards a day, 356. That's 35 million cards a year.
Yeah, and they're at a 9 million card pace now.
You know, like we just yeah.
A lot.
Yes,
Yeah. They'll take weekends off. Don't worry. They'll take weekends off. You know that'll help. That'll help. But you have to think. Like I said, whenever I think the question is legitimate, but I'm pointing out like they're pretty commonplace now.
Mhm.
There is going to reach a saturation point where it's like, do you literally just want to put it in the slab for the sake of putting it in the slab? But the grading was cheap. I honestly wasn't asking how much he profits rather than understand how a most important person in the company can justify being taken away from the rest of the business. You're the most important person in the company, Brad.
I'm second. Second.
Oh, okay.
So
Gotcha.
I'll take my second seat. And to say this in fairness, Mark, like when I do say, yes, we make money. You know what I mean? Like in no way do I ever want to say,
Yeah. It's specific examples you were given where it's a lot of work relative to
like if you get back to the volumes, like all of a sudden when we were in February, March, April, yeah, we were making great money at those volumes, right? So
Yep. Isn't the backlog almost done at PSA? We really don't know, but we do know that they have made a lot of progress on it, and the volume that they can churn out in terms of cards graded, no matter how big that backlog was at one point, again, they're at a 9 million card per year pace. You can eat a lot of backlog because they did eventually cut it off, and then obviously the price points since then have stemmed the tide. So they're receiving stuff, yes, but the stuff they're receiving is actually getting turned around pretty quick, and they're only using a certain fraction of their capacity on it, which is to say most of their capacity is being used on old stuff, and that stuff is churning out. Most people don't talk about that because it's like, oh, I just received 500 cards back, 1,000 cards back. These gigantic numbers. It's like, well, that keeps eating away at it. The pile keeps getting smaller over time.
I think PSA will release the backlog. This is my personal. This nothing from PSA.
And I don't think you want to go to zero. By the way, I think if you're PSA, the plan isn't go to zero. I think you'll reach the price points before you get to zero.
They'll keep lowering the price point, allowing that 20% till the 80's gone, and then it's going to flip, and then you're going to see that magic submission number is going to come back again. Right?
Magic submission number. Oh, wow. They'll get you.
Brad,
Still can't believe the Seahawks didn't win the
Brad,
ball
when you
fast.
get an order back, from PSA of 3,000 cards, I mean, what does that look like? I mean, do they drop it off on a pallet in your driveway? Does it fit in a backpack? I mean, what does 3,000 slab cards look like upon delivery?
3,000 is peanuts.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So what's the biggest order you've ever had dropped off at
150,000 cards.
So do you remember? You know what we can do? Do you if you find the picture, Brad? You know the one. I know you're looking for it right now. There was a picture from because he's got a picture of himself beside a bunch of boxes, and if he can find the picture, we'll show it in a minute.
How can I drag that into the chat or no?
What you can do is do the same thing you did last time. Just message it to me.
Okay.
And I'll open it up. Okay. Paul says, "I can't believe it's not butter." Paul knows the right words. Yep, Victor, absolutely. So Will here's a newbie 33 O-Peachy collector. Yep, love the facts first O-Peachy set. Only got one common card so far. There you go. Yep. I buy sets that I like that are graded because they're cheap and under $4 a card for 24 graded sets. 79 Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Bought a bunch. I'll sponsor a channel giveaway. There you go. Live the dream. Didn't know what I bought. 77 set of 79 Wonder Bread. I love the set when I bought the bread back in the day and collected the cards. I graded a 2000 Stadium Club Antonio Freeman just because I wanted the card slabbed. See? So PSA will still have something. We got Antonio Freeman. 150,000 cards. How do you sort
It's
that?
probably a 101 now.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, that might be a pop one. Who knows?
Yeah.
Okay, so here we go. I got it. I'll open it up here and I'll share it.
All right. So this is this. I'm guessing this is your biggest order. So what would
This
what-
is a
what's the
visual
average?
representation.
How about an
this is-
average?
So this arrived every three. This one of these orders arrived 3 days in a row. So this is about 50,000 cards, I think it was, in this picture.
So I'll zoom in on it a little bit so you can kind of see. Actually, let me see.
So those are all the boxes.
Can you kind of make that out there, Eric? Brad for scale.
And they must weigh quite a bit.
Oh yeah. So we, yeah, yes, they do. Like I thought in that 3 week, that was a nonstop. We got all those cards out in like a 2 or 3 week span, and we had zero warning that these cards were coming.
Wow.
So all of a sudden, it was a Sunday night where I'm sitting there and I'm like, all of a sudden I go online to see if there's any progress on the orders, and I'm like, orders are getting done. And all of a sudden I went, oh my God, a whole bunch of orders are getting done. I'm like, I didn't think they were coming back till 2022. And all of a sudden they just started going ping, 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 ping. And I was like, I'm not saying a word. We're just going to make this happen. I said, Sherry, we got to buckle down because we're going to live with PSA orders for 3-4 weeks, whatever it takes to get these in, to get these back. This is what we got to do. So fortunately, I had Len. Len would go, he'd go to FedEx. He'd pick the boxes up. He'd fill his van. He'd bring them to us. We'd put them all into our office, and I'd go through everything. So that's
you have to go pick these up. They're not even delivered to your house.
No, because we do a hold. This is another reason we do a hold for pickup at FedEx, because anytime you can eliminate a step in shipping, why not do it? Like from a security standpoint. So they come from FedEx, they go there, they hold for pickup, we pick them up, then we take them. Like if it goes on to a truck, maybe this goes on 3 different trucks. Then they come at 3 different times throughout the days. Anytime you can eliminate a step in the transportation, we do that, right? So
there you go. It's easier to do the visual representation because that was like the perfect picture to kind of convey, and then you can kind of visualize it, and it makes it. And Brad's not a short guy, so that's why I say like Brad for scale in the middle of the picture, so you can kind of get a sense of it.
That's what PSA is doing that every day. Like they're grading that many cards.
Basically, what you saw there is 1 day's worth of volume.
Yeah.
So just picture that in your mind. So let's go here. Yep. Prepare to be mind blown. Yep. Ton of G.I. Joe cards. Yes. A lot of Gavin Lux rookies. Yep. Victor. That's a lot of plastic. Can you imagine being responsible to sort and ship that? Yep. I hope nobody's grading Jonathan Chichu rookie cards anymore. PSA 10 Pop 7. You never know. You never know.
Did Name do his homework?
Yeah, well, that's true. So, Name, we need that good excuse, buddy. Because the link's in the chat. We need a good excuse from you, or you better click the link. One or the other. And it better be good. We need something good from you.
Oh, yeah.
Are all OPG hockey rookies more valuable than tops? The Joe Sakic is like the reverse. It was always kind of a weird thing with the Sakic. And I don't think it's necessarily justified, but it was always kind of funny. The Sakic one was flipped. Was there another one?
Is Chichu still the only 50 goal scorer of San Jose ever? I know that was a good trivia once.
He might be, actually. I can't think of another one for San Jose.
It was a good trivia. At one point, he was for the longest time because that would always stump some people. So
yeah. So let's see here. Much respect. Not for me. Yep. Pretty amazing. Yep. Who's Sakic? Never heard of the guy. Waiting for DoorDash to arrive. But you could have gotten it yourself. You're muted, Bobby. His beautiful one-liner gone. You want to try again?
Oh, well.
And the moment is gone. We tried.
That's okay. No big deal.
Yeah. There you go. So anyway, so that's good. But yeah, it was good. It's good once you kind of mentioned it was good to be able to get the visual in there because it gives you a better sense. It gives you a bit of a sense of scale. So hopefully, now, real quick thing. I've waited a while before I've even bothered to mention it. Thank you for the folks that have been joining us tonight. Thank you for the comments in the chat. It's been some good questions, some thoughts, and we could definitely keep going down this vein and also going whatever directions you want to go. So by all means, it's open-ended in that sense. Now, one other thing, I'm going to ask of you. I don't ask you a ton, but I'll ask you right now. We got 55 people watching. I need a couple of likes in the video. That would be really nice if you guys wouldn't mind.
Yeah,
Just
maybe a
asking. It's free.
subscription or
It's
two.
free. Yeah, if you could subscribe, that'd be good. But the like button, we will settle for that. That'd be very nice. Because Brad's been giving some good insight directly from the inside of the belly of the beast, and you're getting to ask the questions that you want to ask. You're getting the perspective of a bulk submitter. You're getting the perspective of somebody who does a lot of volume on our side of the fence, and you can ask that question. Oh, why would you use a bulk submitter? Why would you do this stuff? Ask. Like, we're here. We'll give you our opinions, but then we can also defer to Brad, who's actually doing it. He can give you his insight on that. And otherwise, it's open-ended. You can talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. Cool. So we'll proceed from there. Beautiful.
So I have an announcement.
Go for it.
Big announcement.
Big announcement.
Big. You guys will all be jealous. I will
Is it Marcel Dion related?
No.
I'm
This guy.
I'm already
Man.
substantially less jealous.
No. Blows Marcel out of the water.
Go. Oh, this is serious. Go ahead.
Oh yes. So my friend.
Occasionally, I need to remind you that I have all the buttons. All right, go ahead. Your friend.
Yes, my friend and your acquaintances, Phil Castanetti, has been friends with this man for many years, and he was in town doing a comedy show this weekend, and stopped by the shop today while I was there, and I had the wonderful opportunity to meet the one, the only Jimmy JJ Walker.
Oh wow, dynamite!
And he was dynamite.
Sorry, I ruined it.
Wow.
He must be getting up there.
Yeah, he's in his 60s. Very nice guy, just totally average. Nothing special about him. If you didn't know who he was or recognize his voice, just total normal. Just walking in, talking to Phil, and
Nice.
Phil introduced me, had said hello, talked to him for a few minutes. Nothing about, talked about the weather, talked about normal stuff.
Watch that show growing up. That was.
Oh, yeah.
You got to be almost my age to really appreciate it. They're right in your 50s somewhere. Because that's going back a long way.
Oh,
Good
yeah.
times.
Yep. But he's in town doing a 2-night comedy show. So
Now you're going to go buy a box of packs of Good Times, right?
if I could, I would, because I'd have him sign them.
Brad's
Just
got
go find a sealed box of GI Joe. You'll probably find it in there. That'd be where I'd go.
Yeah.
That'd be the first place I'd look.
Are we going to watch that tray opening?
You have to send me a link or something. I don't have it right now.
Oh, just
Yeah. If it was earlier, no problem. But you'd have to give me the more recent link, and I can get it. By the way, I just wanted to include Paul's comment. It's a good one.
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, of course, the question was, what did Name order from his DoorDash? McDonald's.
Oh no, cold fries.
So Mike here says Clark Gillies passed away. I did not see that. Well, I guess it comes in threes. That's what they say.
That's
Meatloaf,
news to
Louis
me.
Anderson, and there's your third one. So there's your threes.
Is this rumor, or do you guys?
Well, he says he read it, so I'm not sure. So if you could elaborate on that, Mike, where you got it from, just let us know.
Brad, you seem to know about this already.
Yeah, it popped up about 5 minutes ago.
Okay. Yeah. So very recent. Gotcha. So Jay, if you're good, just let me know and I'll bring you on. Cool. Good evening, Jay. How's it going?
Good. How's it with you guys?
It's going all right. It's going all right.
It's all good.
And the one reason why I wanted to chime in, we had that comment about Good Times.
There you go.
That is a highly contentious set that is being collected on the PSA set registry, the Good Times set. And the JJ card is actually, it's being fought about. In terms of
why in particular? What's contentious about it?
The grade. Not the grade, but who has the best set. So people are trying to actively grade the Good Times cards and stickers, which seems to be a strange thing, but I'm trying to give you a focus of kind of the set registry hobby people. Mm-hmm. That's what we fight about, very, very minor things. That's just the nature of the game. with graded sets.
So what you're saying is if we get our capacity up and we can get you sub $20 grading, things get real interesting real fast in your world.
Yes, yes. I actually bought, and this is a sad story, but I bought 25 sticker sets of Rocky 2 because I want to get the best Rocky 2 sticker set, because there is no Rocky 1 sticker set, or there's no Rocky 1 cards.
Gotcha.
That's how trivial things get. And I want to get the best set, so I bought a number of cards that I'm willing to grade when the set price comes down. So that's why, Brad, I have to find a way to get these sets to you in Canada in advance of price decrease for card grading.
So I will say too, Jay, this is one thing, and I would love to do that. Part of our contract, we are not allowed to accept cards from the U.S.
Ooh, interesting. Okay.
I don't, now you just, I just want to sign off now. I don't know what to say. This is very insulting.
I'm not surprised, but it is a good point. Like I was actually kind of curious if that was a thing that could play into it.
Yeah.
I guess it would make sense though, because then, yeah.
I need to ship my cards in Canada so I can ship my cards in Canada. So it's not coming from the U.S. and ship my cards can send it to you.
Well, the problem with ship my cards in Canada is Eric, the next time he comes up to the show and gets lost and has to make shelter. So you can just ship it to the shack and Eric will make sure it gets forwarded over for you, because he won't be able to find his way home and it'll be done.
Yeah.
I found my way home. It took a while.
This time, and you had help probably.
Yeah, there's
really,
no guarantee it'll happen again.
You are prohibited from receiving cards from the U.S. Is that a Canadian thing, or is that a U.S. thing, or is that a
PSA contract thing?
PSA in the PSA contract. It was one of the, and I never understood. And when I was doing the deal, I didn't understand it, and I never really got an answer, to tell you the truth. Yeah, I'm not really sure it was that. But Jay, were you at the National this year?
I was not.
Okay, perfect. You looked an awful familiar, and I talked to a guy working non-sports. That's what I thought. Sorry.
No. I wanted to go. I had work issues that I couldn't go, but yes.
Gotcha.
Jay, you can ship up your cards into Canada through XRAM, and they can forward them off to Brad.
Well, here's why I hearing Brad's story about how he
XRAM is Marx backwards. Sorry, guys.
Okay, sorry. I'm not very good with picking up on those jokes, but no, the best thing is I like the way he handles the cards, and that as a collector is really important. Like, he takes the time to package them, but also that all collectors take care with their cards, and as people talk about group submitters, but the whole point is, we treat our cards with care, and we love the fact that a group submitter takes the same care, and that's important because in the end we want the best results. The group submitter wants the best results, and we just want them to get the grade that they should get, and nothing comes in between that. And that's what when I heard that earlier tonight, I was like, that's awesome. That was fantastic.
We're all on the same team, right?
Yeah. I appreciate that, Jay. It's funny that you said it. I got a call from Brendan Wells, who's like my main contact with PSA, who we became friends now, and he's a great guy. Anyways, he called me one day and he goes, I just want to let you know that shipping received the order, and they just want to say thanks, because the way the order arrived, they love when your orders arrive. And it was that a little thing that just made me, because we organize it, we make sure it's right. We're not just shipping it down there. It made me feel really good to hear that, because they acknowledged us taking the time and taking the care to make sure, I treat them all as if they're my cards, right? I want them to get there in the proper order, proper package, proper label, safe. So.
You're so Canadian.
Well, this is for you, Eric, because I'm from New England. I'm from Manchester, New Hampshire. But yeah,
all right. awesome.
You know, you're doing the New England stuff a bad name because we're not all as cantankerous as you.
He's doing human beings a bad name. He's Eric.
There's that too.
You know, there's a lot of issues. There's a lot of things that we have to discuss, but many things that we got to talk through, and a lot more mockery to come. But I'm going to read a couple of comments first. So Victor says, submit to the set registry. I have a couple of set registries with Victor, but I'm very picky in what I do. I did actually buy a card that's going to be added to one of the team sets that I'm doing. So I've got a 57 Topps Packers team set. So I grabbed one of the last cards I need. One of the cards that I'm sending to Brad is for that set registry. Funny enough. And then after that, the only thing would be left theoretically is the Bart Star. So that's the last one that I'll need for that. Not surprisingly, that's the last one. So we'll get there when we get there. So this one's from Jeff. Actually, let me read a couple of these in between, and we'll get to that question here. Send to Carlos. What do we say about middlemen? You want to create a middleman to a middleman? We're back to where we started. What's more valuable to this registry, a completed set or a higher graded partial set? Do you have an opinion on that, Jay? Like, if you were going to buy a lot, what would be more value to you? Just buying the set outright, or buying a higher partial set as the basis of a bigger set?
I will pay more for a decent partial graded set that I think I can populate to one of the highest graded sets. But I will buy a highest graded set at kind of a mid-level range, just to have it, and then try to upgrade it. So it depends on the set and what the population report is.
Yeah, but that's why I asked the question. I thought it was a good question because you could play it both ways. Because people do that with regular sets anyway. You could buy a full set and then just upgrade certain pieces. Then you've got the commons and whatever. It depends. Maybe the commons are already in good shape, and then you're just upgrading some of the stars and semi-stars and whatever.
I've done it. I bought the two highest graded sets and combined them so they have the all-time finest set. Because, well, I just like all-time finest sets.
Yeah. No, absolutely. So we got, let me read this comment here and then I'll get to Jeff's question. So people like Brad really help one forget a lot of the anxiety, the recent shenanigans of the hobby, one of the good guys. So there you go. Praise for you, Brad.
Thank you.
And here's Jeff's question. So question for Brad. I assume you insure your payments to PSA. Is it shared on your form website? Can you share who insures the package? It's an issue I have as a submitter and could sway me to your business. So what's the situation for the insurance part of it?
Yeah, so
I'll be right back while he answers that.
The shipments are insured from when they're in our possession to PSA and back to us for the declared value. And then the shipments that are from us back to the end user, we have just a maximum of $1,000 insurance policy unless you get your own private insurance. One of the other things that we do, and I've done it a lot, I have flown, I have driven, I've held cards for people. You know, this year we're going to do the 2 shows in Toronto. We're doing Edmonton. We're doing Vancouver. We'll do 2 shows in Montreal. So again, like 7 or 8 shows across Canada throughout the year. There's lots of ample opportunity. If someone doesn't want us to ship the cards back to them, then we have no problem hanging on to them until we can deliver them in person. So that's another little feature.
You don't have to go to Montreal if you don't want to, Brad. It's okay.
Yeah.
So, Brad, is that a feature of in-country shipment, or is that like a company policy? Like, is our maximum that you're allowed to do for insurance?
Yeah, so like all the big companies in the U.S., whether it be PSA, PWCC, I'm sure Golden, all these companies use Melka and Meat, the insurance company, to insure packages and goods that are transferred. They're the biggest, I think the biggest in the world. We're not eligible to have them in Canada. I shouldn't say we're not eligible. We don't have a deal that's affordable to be able to have that insurance for the end user. Like we'll get insurance, no problem. We'll send your package.
It's just going to cost you twice the value of the card.
$10,000. You know what I mean? Like a plane ride, it's so easy. I mean, take COVID out of the equation because this has been a big factor in it. But you can fly. I mean, you can get on a plane and fly to Toronto for $400. So why would I insure someone's package? It'd be better to fly it directly to the person than to insure it and spend $5,000 to insure it. Excuse me.
Yep. So I got a bit of a follow-up question on the insurance thing. We'll touch on it in 2 seconds. Let me go scroll down here. What is Brad's hat? Liquor company or East Coast strip joint? There you go. That's from Baz.
There you go. This is our skate shop.
Yeah. Bombay's.
Bombay's skate sharpening shop. So we another great move on my part. Like I said, having 10 restaurants and nightclubs. March of 2020, COVID hits. We go to 0. What else did we just launch that we were opening up? Bombay's skate shop, which Diane from Upper Deck had a lot of part of that of naming our skate shop there. I decided, hey, we're going to open a skate shop in March of 2020, just as hockey gets shut down. So these were all these factors. Like it was like I remember sitting there in April going, "Oh my god!" Like,
So Eric, if you ever plan anything, don't ask Brad to pick the dates.
Yeah.
No.
Planning, logistics and things. Brad's your guy. We could definitely help. Don't let him pick the date on the calendar. Just
Well, you
pick
can
it at
ask
random.
just fade him.
Yeah, just be like, whatever date it is, maybe I'll bump it up a week.
A better shot just throwing a dart against the calendar.
Yeah, pretty much. So this one's just a follow-up question to it. So now I remember how it was done before, so you can definitely pick up the information there. So that'll be good. Let me go here. Previously, it was like a chart. So based on the amount of the order, there would be different charges in between. So it's just a matter of that. That's how it was done previously. In the current one, do you have like different prices depending on the overall value of the order? How do you guys do it today?
So we insure the cards while they're in our possession.
Mm-hmm.
I think you might have missed that part, Carlos, but
Sure.
From us to PSA and back to us, they're insured for the declared value.
Yep.
And then back to the customer, they're insured for a maximum of $1,000.
Mm-hmm.
And then I gave all the options that people can do because that's
Yep.
all we can. I am working right now with Milk and Meat to try to come up with a scenario. And with PSA, we just started the conversations to be able to offer that service back. But like I said, we have no problem of holding people's cards until we get them back to them in person or whatever we have to do to make them comfortable. So Len's always said in 21 years, he's never lost a package. We have, in all the cards that I shipped out this year, 300,000, 400, whatever that number is, we've had one package that has gone missing now. That has been deemed lost,
Mm-hmm.
but the customer on that one changed the end address twice after it was in shipment. So that created the scenario.
Mm-hmm.
And we currently have one right now that is the investigation's underway, and I'm still confident they're going to be able to put their hands on it this weekend. So, I mean, it is a possibility. So you have to, excuse me, always keep that in the back of your mind. And that's why I said, I have no problem holding on to people's orders. Like we took a look at this one last night.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I'm not sending this package in the mail. Like it's not happening. So
it was full of Ziggy Palfies, guys. It's like, settle down. So just Ziggy Palfy cards as far as the eye can see. It was crazy stuff.
I said I would pay you, Brad.
Yeah.
We'll have to get some arrangements. We'll have to take care of that. But no, it was good. Thank you for clarifying again. I didn't hear it the first time, but thank you for that. So here I've dealt with Brad since the days in the Spryfield Mall. There you go. Very nice. Okay, now this next one, I'm assuming is Ziggy or one of his friends, but I'll play along for a second. Question for Carlos. Does that Shyster from Scam Ladder? It's like, guys, it's not cute to rename it. Just call it Card Ladder. Just say Card Ladder. Still says pics for cards. Ask him. He's on the crossover. He's on Instagram. You can ping him directly. I don't know. So that's Eric. Do you want to answer? Is he selling you picks? That's Josh. So has he sold you any picks lately?
I don't know Josh. I don't interact with Josh. Chris and Christina are the people I'm friendly with, and
there you go.
I'm just gonna.
So no picks so far. No picks so far.
I'm not commenting on that.
All right. So question to Brad: do we have to pay customs when receiving our cards from PSA? You always have to pay customs. Customs doesn't go away.
So we actually, so we don't. Our price includes taking care of that for the customer.
Yeah, but I'm saying like customs doesn't go away; it's incorporated into the price.
Yeah. So what we do is we charge. So we charge HST on all the services. So the government is getting HST. They understand the process. Mm-hmm. So when we ship across, we have to fill out. It's multiple forms, and they stop, they check. We usually get a call all the time to say, what's going on? We are just transporting customers' cards to the US. They're coming back, and we are charging the tax on the grading services. So I always said, from our standpoint, it's good to see that if I'm more or less, we're paying the customs and HST
Up
in
front.
advance, right? So it's all part of it.
So coming back across, there's nothing because it's all paid in advance.
Okay, so everything's
Yep.
Yeah.
No, sounds good. Sounds good. I'm not sure which one this is referring to, but we'll move on from that.
Can I ask Jay a quick question? Jay, if I go to this card show tomorrow and I can find a JJ Walker card and I can get him to sign it, am I in good shape or what?
You are. I'm trying to think of what the best one is. So he's got, I think he's got a number 1 card. Yeah, I'd get him to sign it. Absolutely. You'll be in good shape because there's probably 4 collectors that would want that in their collection because they will have it graded and it will become part of it. So what we do for set people is it's like an addendum to the collection that makes it more unique, and PSA has a way to allow us to add that card in to the collection to make it more unique. Yes.
And you can also add a pack, can you not, Jay?
Well, I didn't hear. Sorry, I didn't hear, Bobby.
You can also add a wax pack, correct?
Oh yeah. People do that too. Yeah.
Because that
No,
adds
it's really cool.
That's in the registry as well, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna have my eyes open tomorrow. I don't know if they. I mean, I've never seen any in the past, but I've never looked. But if I find something tomorrow, I'm definitely gonna look into getting him sign it while he's in town.
It's really cool stuff, and collectors. I mean, I know it seems strange, thinking about it, but it's really cool. And JJ Walker, I mean, look, I'm not a young guy, but he's. I watched him. He was older than me when I watched him when I was a teenager. So, yeah, he's
late 70s, early 80s. He was.
Yeah,
he had it was probably the number 1 show on TV for a little bit. I mean, he had a big career for a couple of years.
And that's what makes a set. In a sense, it's like that kind of thing makes your set, really interesting and unique.
Well, I'm definitely going to be on the lookout tomorrow. So we'll see if I can get it done, and we'll announce
you talk
it
to me. Yes.
All
right, sounds good. So this is a very specific case, Brad. So it's a little bit. So let me read it out for a second, and then we'll kind of take it as kind of a general. We want to say as general as possible, but I understand the reason for the question. So if somebody sends in a $300 card, the 50 to 100 grading fee. So we got the grading fee, and then insurance, custom delivery to. How much is the total cost? So specifically what he's referring to here is the grading fee plus what? So what are the components that comprise the final total that someone would end up paying?
Yeah, so it's 60. I'm going to say $65 right now because we actually just put it up by $5 because we were able to figure out our cost, what it was going to be. So if you send in up to 10 cards, it's $65 Canadian plus HST, and that includes shipping from us to PSA, back to us, and back to you via UPS overnight. Okay. So that's all included. That takes care of your customs, everything else. And then everything, the grading fee gets charged. You get charged HST on the grading fee plus on the shipping. Right. So right now, if you wanted to send a card, to be simple, it's at $100 US, say it's $135 Canadian. $65 shipping, it's $200 plus 15% here in Nova Scotia. For us, if you're shipping from here, it'd be $230. That includes up to 10 cards. So, and every card after that. So if you send in 11 cards, the shipping would be, we charge $1.50 for each additional charge. So 11 cards would be $66.50, and so on and so on. That's
not too bad. Not too bad. That's the other thing is that when you do that structure, you do simplify the math because it's one of those things where it's like, okay, this is the flat cost per card. If it's additional cards, it's this much extra, and here's the shipping part, and here's these components. Otherwise, like if you submit it yourself, which by the way you can, you will have to then go through the different lines on the sheet to make sure you calculate everything out, make sure you put everything, and usually you'll flip to the back and you'll get some charts there, and that's where you get some more information. Make sure you fill it all out properly.
Yeah.
And I don't think when you look at PSAs right now, I think they don't insure packages back to customers that are international. I'm not positive on that, but I feel like it's on their website. But that's something I'm working with them to try to help. So,
All right. Sounds good. Sounds good. Cool. All right. So I think we're good for that. If we've got any other questions related to it, we can touch on them. So at least that gives you a little bit of an
I have another quick question.
Go ahead.
For the panel, how long do you think it takes to eat a McDonald's cheeseburger and fries?
1.7 seconds.
Okay.
You're really, really hungry.
Well, I know there are parts of the country where there are collectors out there. It could take like 5 or 6 hours, at least 5 or 6 hours. I've heard rumors. I've heard rumors. This is a thing.
Okay.
It could take 5 or 6 hours. It could
More
cause
more in the western part of the country.
Yeah, pretty much. It's very much a Western thing. It's a Western thing.
All right. I was just wondering.
Yeah.
I've seen my dog do it when I put it on the counter, and it was under 5 seconds while I went to go get a beer.
No, but
So
there's
that's
like an
about right.
evaluation. My understanding is there's an evaluation process. It's like a 50-point inspection that has to happen before
Okay.
the consideration, and then you have to make a project plan to consider how you're going to attack said burger. Like I said, a project plan, a 50-point inspection. There's a lot of things that have to come into it. We won't say who we're talking about.
No. We don't want to shame anybody.
Moving on. Anyway, so that's all. You're always going to get stuff like that. Inside jokes. Okay, cool. So yeah, we got that. Now, Bobby, I have the video you made. It's 15 minutes long. How far ahead can I queue on this? Like, it's actually a pretty decent like video. I'm happy to play it, but I'm not going to play a 15-minute video.
I think you can jump through the chat part and just get to the opening parts because you can set it up, or I can set it up a little bit.
I just need I need a relative timestamp because I'm just kind of scrolling through a little bit. I think I've got a sense of it. I can kind of.
He's in the first part, so you can just
so hold
bang,
on
bang,
here.
bang.
Okay, I think it's about the halfway point, give or take. Okay, that looks about right. Okay, so this is what is it? A 79? Is it Tops or Peachy Hockey?
It's Tops. It's a wax tray. So what they did Tops in 1979-80. Well, any which way.
Yeah.
They sealed 3 packs in a cardboard tray with a cello wrapper around it.
Yep.
There's always been it's always been suspect, especially with me because the code numbers didn't match. All Tops had codes where you could tell the date and the product run and what have you on every product from 1966 to 90, I think 92, 93, they stopped putting codes on. So you can always figure out. And the codes were 1978. However, it was mentioned that Tops reuse some products, so the codes could be the same. Mm-hmm. Regardless of that, I opened a pack back in 2001 or 2. I'm not too sure. Because I was suspect of who I got it from, an unknown resealer. Didn't know at that time. And the packs were ironed on the back. So I sacrificed, I think it was almost 400 US at that time, just to find out, just for the sake of the hobby, or for my sake too. And I found it to be bad. Since said packs have been opened, and here's one live. You can see and determine what you will.
All right, so I've queued it up here, and I'll play it in a second. I'll read Baz's question just because it's a random one. I do enjoy the odd random question. So this one here. Used to go to CFL and NFL trips. We used to measure each other's raw head size. I got a question what we do for a good time over there, Baz. But no judgment, but I got questions. But largest head was the Grand Poobah. Again, I have questions. But who has the largest hat size? So I wear pro-fitted hats, so I've actually got the answer to this. Although there's 2 different answers because I have confirmed with other folks that New Era has changed the sizing. Like I've got old versus new. I guess it's whatever factory they use. They cheated. So under the old sizing, 7 5/8. Under the new sizing, 7 1/2. Because I've got hats on both and they fit exactly the same. Old versus new. Depends on which one I buy. So 7 5/8 or 7 1/2, whichever one happens to be, depending on the hat. Does anybody actually wear a fitted hat anywhere other than
For
myself?
$1 million, I couldn't tell you. I mean, this is just the stretchy kind.
Yeah. Most folks wear those, so I get it.
I have a DAPS hat, so it's
Ooh, Daps man. Daps man.
I think mine is Okay, so mine is a Velcro, but it's exactly the Velcro, like
Yeah, so
how
the full
your
length,
size is
so the Velcro is fully stretched.
fully stretched. So whatever size that would be.
Yeah.
That'd be large.
Korean Guard was 7 1/4.
Large? Really?
Yeah, I think you've got to wear pro fitted hats for this to like mean anything really.
Yeah.
So there you go. Yeah, Yannick's the leader of the clubhouse. So 7 7/8 to 8 8 inch.
Holy Quebec.
There you go.
No, he's measuring his like around his beard.
Probably.
Yeah, no, buddy, he up higher.
Yeah,
Maybe.
yeah.
Good
Yeah,
question.
so here you go, Ben. 9 inches. He's also 7 8. See, like this is what happens when you ask these questions. It's all an optical illusion, my friends. It's all optical illusion. Yeah, there you go. Size 8 plus is considered NFL lineman and real man.
Oh,
Ah.
Aha. Interesting, interesting. All right. So speaking of real man, we're gonna get to the pack opening. All right, here we go. There's a segue for you. All right, so let's take a look. I've turned on the audio for it. I'll do that. I've queued it up. I did speed it up slightly just so we could get through it. So
Oh, that's
it
fine.
should
Yeah,
be
you
good.
can actually speed it up 1.5 probably.
Yeah, probably. Okay, so let's go with that. That way we can go.
The guy opening it is Kurt Christensen. He actually certifies boxes when they come in
Okay.
cases. So you send him a case, he'll open it up, and he'll shrink wrap the boxes and send it back to you as certified.
Cool.
He hasn't gotten to the other point of Steve Hart, but any which way.
All right, sounds good. So I've queued it up to a little past 7 minutes here in this video, so we'll be able to. I think
he's-
he's about to open a pack here.
He's opened the tray.
Yeah. So here we go.
And
We'll go from here.
Sure.
I'm not even going to look at the roller marks back there because that one is obviously completely garbage. The third one here is the same story. The roller marks, they start here and then they jump. So you factor that in with the suspect folds. Yeah, if these packs were raw, I would not be buying them. But here we go. So Tyler, I'm going to go for this as I took them out of the tray. Here comes the first pack. See if I can see any glue residue on that wrapper.
It opens so easy.
I don't see glue residue. Probably a
Too easy.
hot iron. There's a gum. I don't know if anybody's opened these, if that's the proper gum or not. I have no idea. I've never opened one. In the collation, I don't know either. So we'll see. We got.
That's been kind of a running joke. I see people putting, people like to watch the packs being open for collation. You're not learning anything here, boys.
So there's Bobby saying wrong size gum. So he must have opened some of these. So I said I didn't know about the gum, but there we go. 1 star, 2 stars. So I think that's probably a red flag right there. 2 star, 1 star, 2 star. So those are all over the place. And I'm guessing they should have been 1 star on one half of the pack and 2 star on the other half. 1 star, 1 star, 2 star, 2 star, 2 star.
Yep.
So that pack was obviously bad, all over the place. Bobby said the gum's bad, the collation's bad. We could see the corner folds were suspect, and I told you the roller marks were not lined up. So there was nothing about that pack that would even give you the impression it was good. Here comes the next one, which was in the right of it. Same thing. I'm guessing these were hot iron. I don't see any glue residue there, but I'm expecting to see the same randomness here. Here's the gum. No sticker, they said too. Where's the sticker? That's right, no sticker. And I wouldn't know that because I don't never open any of these. So
Yeah, if you don't look at the racking of the wrapper, it says 10 picture cards, 1 sticker with a stick of bubble gum. So yeah, obviously that shows too. No sticker. So
here we go. 1 star, 1 star, 1 star, 1 star, 1 star. That one at least on the back half are the same. There's Epsonito, very back. Man, the other thing to look at cards is if there's any obviously excess corner damage.
Epsonito.
I know.
2 star, 1 star, 2 star, 1 star, 1 star. So the back half of that pack was totally bogus. So there we go again. Same story.
I saw Jean Mattel.
sticker.
No sticker. And the last pack, which was, this is just you don't even have to look at the roller marks on this guy. That's just,
This is the worst of them all.
yeah, that's just and this one, so this one here, I can't even open. So this one's probably glued. The other two were, they pop right open. This one, I'm guessing there could have been glue residue on it. And it looks like there is. So it looked like the other two could have been hot iron. I see a little substance. You probably can't see in the camera. There's a little substance there. I'm guessing this one could have been glued. And there's different gum. So is that the proper gum?
Yeah, I said that's the proper size.
And
gum
the
for that
packs
pack.
we're putting here, or the cards in a different place. So maybe these resealed packs came from two different people. I don't think we're going to fall over backwards here and find a Gretzky. There's a Dryden leaders. No Gretzky. Here's how they were put in. 2 star, 2 star. Looks like 1 star, 1 star, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, and 2. And that pack has 11 cards in it. I thought it felt thick. So this pack has 11 cards in it. No sticker, but 11 cards, which,
Should have 10.
Yep.
there we go. So
That's it. Is that done?
All right, there we go. So that was kind of one of the things. I know that you've talked about the racks before. Now, where were the racks sourced from?
Who
Was it
knows?
referenced
Really?
anywhere? Yeah.
No, it really wasn't. Actually, a gentleman who paid, I think, almost $1,000. He donated it so Kurt could open it.
Gotcha.
Because I think the Wax Forum, the group, has been talking about the compromise, and I've actually mentioned a few times in there that I've opened them, and I don't think they're any good, and I've been saying that for, I don't know, probably 15 years at least.
Yep.
But they were graded by GAI, and also I think Steve Hart graded them too as well.
What?
Yeah,
Outrageous. Hold on.
I think. So there's a lot of.
I was told he has never made another mistake other than that one time for the 3.5 million. Other than that, he has never made a mistake in 20 years. That's what I was told. Outrageous.
Well, I have heard now. I think that's the 4th rack that's been opened, and they've all been suspect. Now the 1-star, 2-star, we all know what that with tops is production run and the sheet cut.
Well, that was the question that was being posed here. Actually, perfect time.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So quick, just outline.
So they all should match up, really.
And then I just wanted to just throw these in there.
He's got the answer. He took them. See,
Yeah.
The plot thickens. Now we know what actually happened here.
Yeah.
Look.
are those 78 or 79s?
79s.
Are you sure? Did you read the date? Do they look the same in 78 as they do 79? It's on the front. In between, right in the middle.
Yeah, 79, 79, 79, 79, 79.
Good.
He makes him question himself.
Well,
Yep.
no, because these are all the new teams.
Yannick, Tabernacle, such language.
Oh, the okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Very good.
So,
Yep.
They look
Hash-
identical for 2 years there. It was
yeah.
pretty sad
Hashtag-
they didn't get a little creative.
Yep.
Here we
Hash-
go.
Hashtag Boston Weirdo. I don't
Jay,
know.
you see why I'm a curmudgeon? You see why I have so much
That's
angst?
why. Are we sure? Do I have to explain again how you elicit anger in people? Peace-loving, fun-loving people who have not a bad thing to
I
say
wanna-
about anyone.
I want to make
About
sure
anyone.
Brad hears that story after we finish up, if he hasn't heard that story yet.
Paul is like the nicest person in our chat. He doesn't have a sarcastic or mean-spirited bone in his body, but you, Eric, you
I was
elicit these
talking
things in
about-
people.
I just like to.
I'm going to be like
live.
Brad here. He's the nicest guy. The nicest guy.
With-
Brad's
with
got
how-
everybody calm.
I like that. Eric feels like everyone's picking on him, and they're really not. They're just pointing out his flaws. So
Yeah, like we're just stating fact. We state hashtag facts over here.
That's
what we're
Dion's autograph, isn't it, Brad?
You muted,
Those are
Brad.
the ones he sold,
muted,
isn't
Brad.
it?
No, that's the 2011 Bruins Stanley Cup.
There you
Oh, because
Oh,
Dion was
yes.
signing a whole bunch like that
That's
and
right.
selling them at the show.
Yeah, you're muted, Brad. You're muted.
Yes, signed by my buddy Marcy at his 2011 Cup party here in Halifax.
There you go.
Ah,
He said you can't take the real one, but he gave me this.
That'll do.
He got
That'll
hurt.
do.
He got hurt real bad last night. I hope he's
Terrible.
okay.
Yeah, terrible.
getting scared there, Brad. Lost your smell, couldn't talk. I was going, what's going on?
I know.
Scary times, boys. Scary times.
I'll tell you, this is day 7. Day
Yeah.
7 of COVID, and
Thank God.
it sucks.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, look, I told I said earlier tonight because he texted me and let me know. He said he couldn't taste Captain Crunch. I'm like, that's a travesty. I love Captain Crunch. This is just terrible. The rest of it's bad too, but the fact you can't, the Captain Crunch is good.
Captain
There's the
Crunch
roof of your
Berry
mouth.
or Captain Crunch?
Captain Crunch, regular.
Regular Captain Crunch.
Ah,
You need the berry, Jay. You need
Yeah,
to be very
I do.
specific.
yeah.
Carlos, how much education do you want to do? Do you want me to show the 2-star, 1-star, or?
Well, Bobby mentioned it briefly. If you've got two there to show, you
ahead.
certainly can. Yeah, go ahead.
Show it. Do it.
Go ahead.
I'll do my best here.
Yeah, just exactly right there, and that's the spot. We can generally see it anyway. So, Bobby, you mentioned
It's right
earlier
in
that
it's right in the middle. Yeah, when they're doing productions, the 1-star is on one sheet and the 2 stars on another sheet.
So the Bobby Clark has 1 star and the Hull has 2.
yeah, and if you look on the hull, it's just above the first L, and for Bobby Clark, it's above the C. So if you can kind of make it out, it's do the best you can, obviously, but you can at least get the general idea. And if you ever want, you can go to eBay. I strongly recommend, if you're ever curious about stuff like this, go to eBay, do a quick Google, and Bobby Hull and Bobby Clark. You can Google them and look at the back, and then you'll be able to see it for yourself. You'll get a better resolution image, and it'll give you a taste of what we're referring to.
So I want to spin this a little bit to non-sports because we have this question.
Before you
So-
spin it, by all means, before you spin it, The chat is always good with the in jokes. I need to give them a moment. This is good.
Okay.
I appreciate it. So first, Western Canada acknowledgement. Yes, absolutely. So there are people in Western Canada. 50-point inspection to eat a sandwich. Important. All right. Next, we were duped. Agreed. Thank you, Paul. We all got duped. Yes. Eastern Canada hospitality. And can you taste your beer at least? I think it's no taste across the board, eh, Brad?
Absolutely nothing. So I'm on Coors Seltzer. Like
These are desperate times, boys. We're getting desperate times.
Not a sponsor.
It's very dark. Very dark is what we're getting to. Very dark.
Well, watch the calories if you can't taste it. What's the difference?
Yeah.
All right, Jay, go ahead. Take it non-sports. Go ahead.
No. So this star thing comes up with. I know Battlestar Galactica has it with 78.
Yep.
So we always try to figure out, because they put 1 star, 2 star. So is that just a print run thing? We have our suspicions, but is that just? It is basically just different print runs.
I think it is different on different sheets, if I'm not mistaken, or print runs if it's split into 2 separate. I'd have to dig into that a little bit further, but that's a Topps issue,
but it's consistent. Topps does it
only Topps.
Is Battlestar Galactica. So so that makes sense.
O-Pee-Chee didn't carry on. I don't think O-Pee-Chee has the stars. No, they shouldn't really.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
Okay, one second, Eric.
They would change everything. They would change everything.
Yep.
They would take that out, but sometimes they forget, because they got everything from Topps in sometime in November, and then they'd be ready to go in January to produce their own. They'd add extra, take the codes off, and do all the different things they had to do. They forgot a couple times to take codes off, but for the most part, they were pretty good.
Okay, good.
Very nice. Very nice. Good stuff. Yeah. Part of the fun here tonight is going to be, like I said, guys, earlier, is that, we always cover the main topic, and we did that again tonight. And it's still, like I said, if you got any other questions related to that, we can touch on it. Otherwise, we can make fun of Western Canada, people eating sandwiches very slowly. We can do that. But we can also venture into, off sport. And then we did have that. I think the other key point, though, from Bobby's video, this is important, is that, again, we're back to there is no universal. You can't take one opinion as everything. You have to understand that the only way to know, you could see, obviously there's some issues, but the only way to be 1,000% sure is you have to open it. And then you saw weirdness inside. To Bobby's point, the gum was wrong. There was no sticker in it. You had 11 cards and you should have had 10 and no sticker and like all these mounting things that are wrong, but you don't know until you open it.
Yeah, being flipped, like if the cards are one way or the other way, it doesn't really matter. That's irrelevant. They can that happens in the packing process. So don't ever look at that. But regardless.
Bobby, when was this? When were these packs opened?
Last night.
Oh, okay. So this is a new situation. This isn't something that
it's not old. The other packs, well, the other ones, one I opened obviously was almost 18 years ago. I think there's been a couple others that I saw online. I think Kurt said there's been 3 prior to his, so I think I've seen 2 of those. Those ones, the guy didn't really. I don't know. He didn't look at the packs very well. A lot of guys just open it because they assumed that it was a good pack. And then they had a lot of doubles and triples of the same card in the same pack. Like 3 Tony Espininos or whatever it was.
Yeah, Espininos.
Espininos.
Honestly,
you should hear about his brother Phil.
Yeah,
the Espinino brothers are very famous.
They are.
Carlos got a picture of him above his head.
Yep.
It's funny to listen to Americans who don't know hockey very well and try to say the names. It's actually very entertaining. I could watch a show all day on it. It'd be great.
Well, the problem is, you see, they missed out because now for this is the Ovechkin card we mentioned before, but this year they put the phonetic spelling of the player's name on the back because they would do that for certain sets. So with this one with Ovechkin, it's going to be a little hard to see. Let me zoom in a little bit, but you should at least see it hopefully. So it's right there, kind of at the top, underneath his name.
Oh yeah,
yeah. So they would actually spell it out phonetically. So they would do that with all the players, which is, by the way, I think that's a good idea. I think you know what, you got room on the back of the card. Spell out do the player's name phonetically. You'd be like, oh, I can't pronounce it. It's on the back. Take a look.
There are some tough names out there.
Yeah. So it's like, you know what? Great. That's kind of an education. It gives people a reason to read the back. Give them a reason to look at the back for once in a while. Like it's not a bad design idea. Why not? Have some fun with it.
It would so mess with people though.
It would, yeah.
Think of Dustin Bufflin is my favorite, like my absolute favorite. Like that's good. People are going to look at that and be like, it's by Fuglin all day long.
Yeah.
You're gonna see Bufflin. Like,
Yep. That's why I just thought it was funny because when he mentioned it, it's like, actually, that's the card in the stack. It's like, actually did spell his name phonetically on the back. It's like, you got it right there. You can get the pronunciation
And I never understood Taze. I said, there is no way in God's earth that you can get Taze out of that toes. Come on, dude. Even
There's
if
a
you
silent
pronounce it
A.
and a silent W and a silent E. I don't know, whatever. Taze. Yeah.
That's a family who
You
didn't
don't
like it and made fun of and said, no, it's not that, it's this.
Oh, he grew up getting, teased all day at school. Toes, yeah. No, it's Taze. Yeah. All right.
T'Chuk. Yes, T'Chuk.
Oh, well.
True.
Kachuk.
Yep.
The T is kind of silent.
Yep.
That's a tough one for most people.
Yeah.
Because you even look at it and still can't, it still won't roll out of your mouth. It's like something.
Yeah, I think at least if you're in the ballpark, I think it's okay. But some of them, like to your point, like some of them is like you are adding letters that aren't even here. That's not even possible. Like, how did you manage that?
That's
At
pretty, I don't know.
If the letters were there, that's cool and all, but fine. At least you took a stab at it. On principle, I would have to. I hate Coors, but if Roberto had a Coors, I would drink it just because it would annoy him. As the older brother, like I'm contractually obligated, much like Brad is contractually obligated by PSA not to handle the U.S. shipment. I'm contractually obligated. I might just have to pour it on the ground, but I got to make sure it's consumed in some way. Like, just a matter of principle. Yep, there you go. No, people don't read card backs anymore. Bowl. That is a tough one.
I don't want to talk about that.
His favorite players send him all the bowls. We'll get address information for you all. Wasn't there where they put the wrong phonetics on the back of the mouth? I'm sure that happened. I do enjoy this one. Favre.
Did you guys saw the movie "There's Something About Mary"?
Yeah.
When Ben Stiller couldn't pronounce it or something. It's so fun. It's a funny scene. I don't do it justice. But Favre.
It was a good movie.
Yeah. There you go. Favre. Love it. All right, so Victor here. So Victor brings up a good topic. I tried to touch on it the other night, but folks weren't having it. But I'll touch on it briefly because now they've started to do it. Now they've actually started to roll this out a little bit. So they got that YouTube Sports Card Hall of Fame thing that was Mike Baseball Collector's baby before. And now formerly Tippett Leprechaun, and I guess now it's Legends Never Die, their YouTube channel. They've taken it over. And they've created this whole thing. And it's funny is that I did kind of scan a couple of videos, and yeah. So it's like, no, it's kind of, like I said, it's a shout out to different channels and stuff. Now, the thing is, a couple of people have been naming the channel there. And I'm like, oh, that means I got to participate? It's against my religion to participate in things. Terrible. Terrible. Well, what I want to do, well, I'll tell you in advance because I thought of a couple ways I could pull it off, but I'm going to refrain because it's too easy. What I wanted to do is just do a ballot where I just kept trying to elect Bob Lewis, and then just like off camera, somebody says like he's already in, and I'm like, what? It's like by decree, wait, like people actually voted for that shit? Oh, dang. Okay, sure. Always got to show love to Bob. Always got to show love to Bob.
Vote, sure.
Yeah, well, we got to give him something. It's the Harold Baines vote. He was there.
Yeah.
For a while. That was a thing. It happened. It's cool. Let him in. Give him his little patch. It's awesome. So anyway, yeah, Victor said you'll be getting a vote for me. Aren't you flattered? I am always flattered. I always appreciate when someone takes the time, jokes aside, I always appreciate when someone takes the time to shout out the channel. You don't have to do it, but we do appreciate it when you do. But yeah. Because you have to actually have a channel. And now the new rule is you have to have been around for at least a year before. So it can't just be any randos. You actually have to have been making videos for a little while. So yeah, you got to do a little bit of that extra. So yeah, but because you actually have to make a video to do a ballot. So I'll think about it. And if I can think of a couple, I'll probably throw that in there. I'll think of something. So that'll be another video I'll put on the channel at some point, and then I'll link it. But we'll see how that goes out. Like I said, though, I still feel like there are other ways. The great irony of this whole thing is I still don't kind of like what they ended up doing. I don't believe in the way they did it. I'll play along this time because, like I said, it's very nice that some folks named the channel, but it's like, I still feel like there's a better way to do this. I don't know what that is, but but I still feel like there's a better way to do this. But hey, what are you going to do? Because he's Carlos. It's true. Daps is a good one. I thought about it. There are a lot of ironic choices that I thought about. I legitimately considered a number of them. Dare I say Daps Man? Especially as long as he goes in under Daps Man. Because I feel like we could have a groundswell, like a grassroots campaign.
You might. And then all of a sudden, he wins.
That's okay. As long as he isn't Daps Sports. As long as he's in as Daps Man. He goes, I'm not Daps Man. Yes, you are.
You are now.
You are now. You are like Meme Lord. I mean, Steve Hart.
Oh,
You will accept my moniker and like it. That's how it works.
so who's the next meme lord?
I think there's only really one Meme Lord. You can't really make somebody else.
Now.
Yeah. No. No. Here's the thing about memes, Bobby. Memes live forever, past the point
Understood.
where people know who that is. It doesn't matter whether they know it. His face will stay in the meme.
Yeah, but to be the Lord.
Well, if his meme is used
Many
often
that
enough in
come.
hobby, if it was used often enough in the hobby, it's going to be it's going to be tough to beat the look of we got
Marx
duped.
didn't.
Agreed.
Marx man is going to be a close
I
up.
don't know. Yeah.
Do we have a definitive face for him though?
Yeah,
Like, do
we
we have a
tried.
specific look? on his face?
Yeah, just say yeah. I'm not going to say
Enough
anymore.
said.
Yeah.
We're gonna need some memes then. I'm gonna need to review these memes for meme lorddom.
You can look at that. This what is it? Sports collectors. What's his name?
There's that one. It's iconic now.
All right. Well, has Lameme James done it, or is it just circulating generally?
Bobby's going to get it, I'm sure.
That was a question. You guys are
No,
saying it's iconic, but I haven't seen it. I
Well,
don't know which one you're talking about.
I've just seen it everywhere. Now, no, Lamine James has not. He's
Okay.
probably working on it right now.
Okay. Well, it's important. You know, it's long. We gotta vouch these memes. You're gonna try to declare somebody else meme lord. I'm gonna need some vouches here. I can't
Okay.
just take you at your word. We gotta do a little groundwork here.
Hashtag Marx meme. It's
There you
coming.
All right. Sounds fair. Cool. So I think we touched on a lot of the follow-up. We did the pack video, so that's good. So otherwise, what do you guys want to chat about? I'm kind of open-ended to whatever. I could think of some stuff, but I'll be honest. That kind of those dominated the areas. We did the Logan Paul thing already. Did a good job with it. We touched on the Marx thing, made fun of it in different ways, took care of that, and talked about some of the fallout. So we did that. And we've talked about some of the reasons why someone may want to do the bulk submitter if you wish, under the right circumstances. Even some of the fallout if PSA gets its act together and starts bringing the price down and how that could impact the other players. Is there anything else that kind of plays into it?
Not really. We've covered the bases while we were on last night too. So
Yeah. Well, I wanted to make sure we had the bases covered because I thought it was a good for a self-contained episode.
Yep.
And then obviously with Brad
Right.
here, we're able to get a different angle on it from the other side of the equation
Yeah.
for someone that gets affected by this. Because PSA changes the rules, it affects Brad too. So we've got that touched on and covered. Sports Card Radio, I did see got a vote as well.
That's who. Oh, really?
Good old Sports Card Radio. Oh, yes.
Boy,
Yes.
did he ever go off today on that last video. Whew.
Mhm.
He gave everybody a piece of their due.
The best part about it, though, is that it's like, I know he doesn't care. He knows, like he's barely in the business at this point, but he likes trash talking. He goes, oh, you'll get attention? Sweet. This will be
Yeah.
great.
He likes that.
He knew he was going to get some attention. Like, he barely made any videos for the longest time, and he's like, wait, drama? Video making time. We still have the channel, right? It's under Bob Lewis. Ah, come on.
Yeah. He's always golfing.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. Like, the fun part is he genuinely, you can tell if you really pay attention. Like, does he really give a shit? No. But does he know he makes good content? Yes. And if he has your attention and it can draw some attention, yeah, sure. I'll take your attention for a while. Why not? What the hell? We'll have some fun with that. So I'll touch on this one here. I'll hit on this. In the meantime, if there's anything else you guys want to chat about, general topics or anything else, we can just have a little fun with it or just hang out. You got your box there? Is that a thing where you're going to leave the box closed or are you going to open the box?
I
What are
am
you gonna
keeping
do?
this box sealed.
Yeah, it is the first edition, so it's not maybe not a bad call.
Yeah.
Is that Pokemon?
Yeah,
AEW. Oh,
it's Pokemon cards on the inside, but it's an AEW box.
I mean, do you guys really think
It's BBC sealed, man. It's legit.
Do you really no? Uh, maybe I just don't. I'm not educated enough on it. I'm a pessimist, But
You could have
all of
stopped at the
above.
first part. I was convinced. You
I-
had me convinced.
Is that AEW box really gonna be worth something in the future?
The first edition of anything always holds a little bit extra, and they didn't actually print as many as people thought
First edition Pro Set didn't hold nothing.
because it's pro set.
Okay.
We
Move on.
sold 6 boxes today, Bobby, at the store.
And pro set they also printed approximately 12 trillion of them.
Well, yeah, they
Yeah,
overdid
if the
it,
AEW one, if they had printed enough, then sure, but then it also wouldn't have gone for over $200 a box once the secondary market got their hands on it, and then people bought it, and then like the price hasn't dropped back down to probably where it should be, even after people had a chance to open it. And it's like, yeah, there's some available, and the stuff inside of it, the autographs are still going for a couple $100 each, just because they're one in every 4 boxes. So the content itself, like if you could pull like a $300-400 card inside the box, and the box is available still even at the inflated price for $200, again, you're taking your chances. You're probably not going to get one. But that means that there's still enough value, because there's boxes that go for hundreds of dollars where maybe if you're lucky, you pull a $100 card. And I'm like, the best you can do is maybe $100 or $200, and you're paying like $400 or $500.
I think that's what's happened with vintage wax. It's past the point of opening.
Yeah.
Like, you'd have to get a PSA 10 on every card in there, and just to get back your money on the initial investment of the wax itself.
Yeah.
So
Well, right now, I'll tell you that even at the $200 price point, the likelihood is, again, we're playing wax here, the likelihood is you would lose money. However, if you pull one of the legitimate hits, you would win. So you're still in that spot where you could actually pull a certain genre of cards in there. It is still possible. 1 in 4 boxes is not impossible. It's still plausible. But you are paying out of it. But if you pull one of the autographs and you buy 4 boxes at $800, and the autograph covers 3/4 of that price, and then whatever else is left in it, you're actually close to break even if you get proper collation. So that's why the price is still held. That's the only reason why.
we're worried about people not collecting singles of vintage cards. Okay. It's $600, $800. Okay.
Well, it's $800
That's a lot of
for 4
money.
bucks. It's $200 a box. It's 4 boxes. That's
Yeah.
$800.
It's a lot of money.
I hope it holds its value.
Oh, it should be okay. It's no big deal.
Well, I mean, in the last 20 years, right after the Monday Night Wars ended, how many wrestling organizations have popped up on TV, had a brief run of popularity, and then disappeared?
13.
13. That's about right. So,
Where did you get 13 from?
It's a random guess.
I was going to say, since the Monday Night Wars ended, Impact. That's it. Because it's literally, the problem is none of them get national TV. After the Monday Night Wars ended, none of the TV stations actually wanted it. They would take WWE because WWE was the entrenched player, and that was it. Impact is the only one that even attempted to do like a Monday night show to compete with them one time. It lasted maybe a month or two, and then if the company still exists, they're still around. They're on Access TV. You can watch them on Twitch.
yeah.
Like you really got to reach.
So I mean, I just hope for the hobby's sake and for people who are spending the money that it sticks around for a while. And from what I hear from people like yourself who really are into this modern day wrestling and things that I've even read, they're picking up speed, and their viewership is growing all the time, and they're doing pretty well. So I hope it continues. I just hate someone to spend $200 on a box and then it's worth as much as a Pro Set box in a year from now.
You're talking about a good chunk of the stuff that's $200 box. Get out of wrestling. You open a $200 hockey box, you lost money. $200 baseball box, you lost money. Football, lost money.
That's like
If we're going by the math, like it's not wrestling specific. Like I said, the one thing it has going for it is that it was the inaugural issue, so it does have a little bit of it. Billy built it in such a way where the intention was this is the first of several sets that they're going to do. It was an introduction. It did have the hype built in, so the fan base at least was
Yeah.
was willing to support it to bolster the secondary market. That's why it got that boost. We'll see. Here's what I'll tell you is that like the numbered cards and stuff will really have gone for a lot more money than I think a lot of people would have expected because they're actually tougher pulls than people think.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one of those things where it's a tougher pull. You can open a box, you're not getting one. You open another box, you're still not getting one. Third box, fourth box, fifth box, maybe. A lot of those numbered ones, some of them are 2 per case. So it's like, okay, that's actually, but then if you bought it on eBay and you were able to get it for a fraction, I'm gonna see if I can find the specific one, but I got one of them that's. I think I showed it to a couple of you guys that Brett from Stacking Slabs featured on his Instagram, and I just laughed because it's like I bought the cheapest one that has been sold. So we'll see. So
Speaking of Billy, he told me today that he was going to check out the show and possibly attempt to join us. So.
Well, the link's in the chat. The link's in the chat. So if you need, Billy, if you're around, you can always put a comment in there. I can always send you the link directly if you need it. Otherwise, it's in the chat.
But, he did say he had nothing to do tonight. He's quarantining before he goes and visits family, and he was going to check it out. So
yeah. So this one, I would say, if you know this one, Ben Cardboard, you know Britt Baker, that's the best pickup because I got that for $25, and I can pretty much assure you that I could literally just go flip it back, and I would make multiples of that. Because that's the red out of 20. That's a red out of 50, and those ones don't come up too often. So it's been good. Thoughts on the playoff this weekend? We'll come back to that in a second. I think it's a good question. AW, isn't that a root beer? It's like the question is, Victor, which one? Who's got a rookie card in it? That's what we need to know, and that's for you to figure out because I don't want to.
Has that frosty much taste? Right, Victor? Yeah. Well, I think it's the marketplace out there is everybody, when a new product comes out, I think they're all jumping on board. That's the way this thing works now. Longevity and down the road, we'll see how it fares. But at this point, everybody's looking for the new, whatever's new, I'm going to jump in. I'm going to get in early. The sustenance that it's going to have is the key. And will it have it? And for how long? And how good is the product? I guess that'll work itself out down the road. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah. I think the thing it was funny is that wrestling cards for the longest time didn't hold any value anyway. So the thing is, your point is valid, but it's like, doesn't that kind of defeat the point? Isn't it funny? Because ironically, wrestling cards were the last vestige of like, oh, you're collecting it because you want to. That's it. Not a lot of value in it anyway. It doesn't matter. So now it's taken a boost the last while because some of the WWE ones have started to go for more money. Some of these other ones, it's like, but for a lot of years, like actually you could get the wrestlers that were popular and everything, The Rock and John Cena and Hulk Hogan and all that. It was all cheap.
Yeah.
All of it was dirt cheap.
I had them all from the 80s and the stickers and all that. And, they all got trashed and destroyed. But
the thing is, it wasn't worth anything anyway. It was fine. Like, trash them. It doesn't make a difference.
Right.
Even like 10 years ago or 5 years ago, you could have done the same. It wouldn't have mattered. Now all of a sudden it's like, ooh, the 82 Wrestling All-Stars. Like, okay, settle down.
Neither was Good Times. Neither was G.I. Joe.
That's right. Like you didn't care until 5 seconds ago, but now you
everybody. Everything and everybody. Well, we'll see what holds on.
Yeah. So your bought 4 AW boxes, pulled it out on the first one. Yeah. I think you probably got the hit. Those are actually pretty tough to do. Thoughts on the passing of Meatloaf? I'll let you guys take a stab at it. I know Meatloaf, some of his better songs, but I didn't listen to a lot of them. So any great Meatloaf memories, concerts, songs, anything?
High school dance. Paradise by the Dashboard Light. We would, in grade 9, the girls would line up one side and boys would line up on the other side. And,
oh yeah,
Will You Love Me Forever? The girls would yell and the guys would go, I'll sleep on it. And, it was kind of a back and forth thing. That's grade 9 for me. That's
that was fun back in middle school and high school doing that stuff. Yeah. I just was always impressed that this guy, first of all, when he was younger, he was in horrible physical condition, and he would perform so hard that he would literally have a heart attack on stage.
Yeah.
And I mean, the fact
he couldn't breathe, he couldn't get enough oxygen. Yes.
Yeah. But he'd go out there, he'd be dripping in sweat like he came out of a shower, and he would literally like have heart attacks.
Good boy.
And he just gave it everything. And now you see, and I guess I sound like an old person, but you see these kids nowadays. I mean, they're lip syncing and they got the sound machines on, and This guy was out there literally willing to die for his craft. And these people now are just so lazy.
He was in a movie. It was called Roadie. I don't know if anybody's ever seen that. Carlos?
No, I never
No,
saw
not
that
that
one.
one. I was waiting to see if a movie reference would come up. His name is Robert Paulson. He was in
Well,
Fight Club.
right.
Yeah,
Oh.
he was in Fight
Yeah,
Club. And,
he was in Fight Club.
Yeah, his name was Robert Paulson.
Well, there was a very funny movie. He was a roadie for a band,
Mhm.
and then he get knocked on the head. And he went crazy. It's a
So
real
is it
funny-
autobiographical?
Oh, almost. Almost. Well, he was actually on. What was he on? Trump. He was one of those contestants for the.
Oh shoot, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
The
Oh,
boss
what's it
one.
Yeah.
You're hired. You're fired.
Yeah, right.
Now the name completely escapes me. Like
Isn't that
I completely
amazing?
I just lost it. I know exactly what you're talking about.
I watched one episode of the whole series.
Oh, it wasn't very good. It wasn't very good at any point. But I know what you're talking
Well,
about.
I did. I liked it. Breck Michaels and there's a lot of different.
The
people that are on
Apprentice.
it.
The Apprentice.
Apprentice,
Korean Cardboard has it. So thank you for that. I'll
Thank you.
get to that message. But thank you for that.
Yeah. So that was he was on there, and he was a strange dude on that one.
Yeah, for sure. So real quick, I'm going to go through a couple of these comments. Does anyone else want to share a Meatloaf memory? I got his name is Robert Paulson. My biggest thing with him, I've listened to some of his big hit songs, but honestly, I liked him in the movie. I got a kick out of his character in that movie. I
Oh,
enjoyed it.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So, okay, fair enough. So I'll move
And
on
he was
here.
in Rocky Horror, and
Oh, was he? Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
he was
of
one
course.
on the motorcycle.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
A few other movies. He's got good credits.
He did a trucker movie with Patrick Swayze.
Really.
Yeah.
A
And
trucker movie.
yeah.
I thought I've seen them all, but
There you go. Just quickly scanning through here. Best Friends Tag Team Auto. Number 25, that's pretty good. They're a pretty popular team. The funny thing is, wrestling, you got to remember with wrestling cards, it's basically like celebrity or, think of them like show cards. You basically have your characters that are more popular, and they're always going to have their fan bases. Think of it like the way that Game of Thrones works, because they've got their autograph stuff. Certain characters are a little bit more, they have their fan bases, but almost everybody has fans. Some of them just appreciate the character, whatever that is. But certain ones obviously are going to be a level higher than that. So it just depends, just how it works.
true.
So Top's put in 150 prospects in 2021 Bowman's best with the vets. Rookie cards are no. So Victor says no. First Bowman only. XRC, not necessarily a rookie card. Yeah. Yeah. Beckett was the only one who kind of is fighting for that. They decided to go all in on it, but fair enough. So you see, you're authoritative, Jay. Authoritative.
Yeah.
GCW, that's a very different context, but GCW is interesting in its own way. Bowman Heritage, gotcha. Yep, Wrestling Haters are gonna hate. Yep. Yeah, I think that one turns out to be a good price. The only thing I found myself in, and this is something I got to think about, and maybe we'll talk through down the road. I got such a good price on it. I do like the card, but it becomes a situation. It becomes that line. I like the card. I'm happy with the price I paid for it. But if at any point the price of it reaches a certain stage, do I prefer having the card, or do I prefer having the money on the card and just getting something else? Because I've got other ones that that could be easily placeholders. I don't need all of them. I'm not trying to do the rainbow of them. So I've got other versions of the same card. So if I've already got multiple copies and I'm not going to do the rainbow, I can hang on to one of the other ones, and then it's like, okay, well, if you guys want it that badly, take it from my hands, and I can go pick up something else. So it's like decisions. The good news is my price point is so low, $25, compared to the ones that have sold recently or the ones that are available right now, that it's like I got options. I just got to figure out what makes sense. Yeah, a lot of the wrestling cards haven't been very good design-wise, but I agree with that. It's a good first effort for sure. 82 Wrestling All-Stars, a lot of money. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. And Garrett Card Cutter is actually doing an autograph set of them. He's been working on his channel on those, and that's quite a bit of work, because you got to remember, a lot of those guys in the 80s, some of them are dead already. So like getting autograph versions that are legitimate is very tricky. And there's a lot of notable names. I won't play the clip, I promise. But our boy Ted DiBiase's in it. He's not the $1 Million Man in 1982. He's Ted DiBiase, but that is Ted DiBiase. Jake Roberts, Andre the Giant, Hulk Hogan, almost all of the main, Jimmy Hart. You got almost Dino Bravo. Like, you've got all these guys who would go on to have success in these other things that became big names. They're all in that set.
JJ Walker.
There. There's that.
There you
You
go.
forgot Ric Flair.
Yes, he would be one of the big ones, I would say as well. Yeah, for sure.
I try to forget Ric Flair.
You should never forget Ric Flair. Ric Flair is like right up there with Ziggy Palfy and Josie,
Yeah,
reoccurring characters on the show. These are the same people with big bucks picking up all the top wrestling cards at the moment. Yeah, yeah. That's what I say. Like the market is still very narrow. You've got Suzanne Morning from Wrestling Cards. I forget the exact name of the YouTube channel. You can find him. He's got a podcast in the channel. They're trying very hard. They basically just want some credibility. They're like, why don't you guys love wrestling cards as much? You're paying this much for this card, and this card is even more limited, harder to come by. It's like, why don't you pay? It's like, because the demand isn't there. It's supply and demand. Yes, the supply on some of them is actually tougher. But some of those 82 All-Stars are a little tougher to come by, especially in decent condition and stuff like that, because they were kind of meant to be throwaways. They weren't meant to be anything crazy. But it's like, if not enough people want them, it's not going to go up in price that quickly. Now everybody's gotten excited about it. Now the prices start to creep up, but it's like, guys, you got to learn some patience. Just accept it. Like, that's what it is. Thank you, Matt. That's the one I was looking for. Wrestling with Cards. Thank you. You guys are on the ball today. Thank you for that. Paradise by Dashboard. Yep. Eric Shapes Fist to Cloud. Agreed.
Is he?
He's typing between the 50-point inspection. He's only like 20 points into the 50-point inspection.
He must have ordered the large fry.
My favorite part is name. I got to be honest with you. I'm actually kind of enjoying the shtick you got going on. I think you're just trolling Eric. I think it's one of those. I think this could become a thing where you never come on again.
Yeah.
Just hang out in the chat and literally never come on again. And Eric will keep calling you out, and it's like there's always a delay. By the way, we still haven't gotten the excuse this time. We gave you time. Like, we gave you homework. Could you come up with something and put it in the chat? Come on, man.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's going with McDonald's.
Yeah, Korean Cardboard, Daisy, and DJ Lazy Jeff. Yep, and Jeff. So thank you all for the Apprentice answer. I'm just getting caught up here. Did you hear about the new upcoming documentary, The Hobby? That seems very generic. I don't know about it yet.
I seen it today. I read about it today.
Is it literally called The Hobby?
Yeah.
It's that generic?
Yeah.
Is that on MSNBC or is that a different one?
So
Yeah,
that cover Pokemon and collectibles of all kinds? Or
Yeah,
just
it's
a card hobby.
you know what, you can find it. I went on and just read about it today, but it's like a full documentary by, I think it's Amazon or Netflix or someone. It's
Oh, great. They'll screw that up.
Well, I think they're shopping it around, right? So they're trying to find someone to buy it or something. I don't know. I don't know all that stuff, so I shouldn't comment on it. But one of the questions that we were discussing is, should this documentary show all the drama that's, for example, that's been happening over the last few weeks?
If you want someone to watch it.
Thank you. Right. So think about it. Yes, it would make the general us look bad.
Yeah.
But imagine just a boring 2.5-hour documentary about card collecting.
Yeah.
That's going to make us look bad too.
For the record, you have now given me the next topic. I now know exactly what. So thank you to 357 for bringing it up. Thank you begrudgingly to Eric for saying a thing and giving me inspiration. Let's talk about this. A lot of people like to complain about the drama thing. What we said a second ago is that, okay, if you want people to watch it, you got to include the drama is the thing. People like car crashes. People like train wrecks. They like stuff like that. They'll say they don't watch it, but they do this. They got to go look. They can't help themselves. And I like having some fun. Seeing someone get tased.
Yeah.
Don't worry. He retracted it. It was like, nope, sorry, I got it. But here's the thing. In all seriousness, drama is ratings, 100%. But like, here's the thing. It's true. A lot of people say this, and like, whenever I make videos on the channel, live streams are live streams. Live streams are organic. They happen. Folks come on. We chat about whatever we're going to chat about. We go in whatever direction. That's how we end up with Josie. We end up with the Ric Flair story. There's a lot of stuff that can happen. Who knows? We never know until we get there. We don't come in pre-planning it. It's just, we'll go. The only topic I was sure about is we talk about the fallout. We did that. After that, it's wherever it's going to go. But last night we did the thing about the Marx cards. It was about just under 2 hours, right about 2 hours on the dot. Pretty much nailed it to the second. It was very funny. But the point is that we had stuff to talk about the whole time. We were covering different angles about it, getting opinions, talking with the chat, doing all that. And then I'll see on the crossover, they'll do their little, it's like, hey, you guys got topics. And Chris likes to share those. And as part of sharing those, he'll be like, what do you guys want to talk about? And there'll always be a couple of folks that'll be like, can we talk about anything but the drama and the hobby? And I'm like, I'm sorry, man, that doesn't bear out. When I make my videos, I'll talk about kind of stuff that I want to. I like doing general topics. I like doing, so like Jay mentioned the last time he was on, I asked the question like, why do you do this? I like those broad stroke, thinking pieces. And they're fun, and some people watch them and they get something out of it, and it's good. But guess what? Got the most views and most watches in the shortest period of time in anything that I've done sports card related on this channel. Last night talking about Marx Cards. In 24 hours, it got more views and more attention than anything else I've done on the channel. And the one right behind it, Logan Paul Pokemon case. We all got duped, agreed? Why is it always that stuff? Because people watch it. People pay attention. They want to engage with it.
Mm-hmm.
They make comments. They've got opinions. They want to state their opinions, whatever it is. And then you'll always have, oh, why are we always talking about this negative stuff? It's not that we're talking about the negative stuff. It's that people are paying more attention to negative stuff. We can talk about the positive stuff. You're going to be surprised how quickly it gets boring and people tune out and stop listening.
Yeah.
Isn't it interesting how that works?
Yeah, an hour and a half documentary about how I found a Gretzky refractor, and I called all my friends and said, what do you think? Boy, hour and a half on that's exciting. Or a guy gets tased.
That's kind of neat.
Yeah.
Wally has the refractor. Yeah.
Bruh, we can bring it all full circle. I like it.
I mean, they're going to interview me about my feelings about finding something in my closet and how that was cool. And then I texted this guy and that guy, and the hobby's really close, and they all texted me back and supported me and congratulated me for finding something in my collection. Oh, okay. That's the dumbest documentary that's ever happened.
Here's the thing. Even the hardcore hobbyists, a lot of them are going to struggle to stay awake during it.
Right.
Because
but that's the real hobby, though.
Yeah.
I'm trying to look up this hobby thing. I keep getting Hobbit.
Well, but here's the thing. The problem is, I actually think the name is this biggest hang up here. It's so generic sounding that it's like, guys, you got to come up with a better name. That's actually a really bad name. So, you try to search it, and like you'll find a billion things that are not your documentary.
Is it a show, a movie, a docudrama? Is it historical? Is it present, current times? What is it based on?
The thing that, and it's probably not the same thing, but it must be. I saw something on MSNBC or CNBC, and I think it's. Yeah,
I'm flipping it to you now, Carlos.
Oh, okay, sure. Sounds good. Have a good night, Korean Cardboard. Take it easy. Thanks for popping in and hanging out.
Good luck with the Eisenman cards.
Yep, absolutely. Let me pose it's kind of beating a dead horse and just conveying the point. But okay, so let's say this documentary. Let's say they do a good job of it. Let's say they do a really good job. Question: Which documentary? We've got hobbyists on here, and Eric. Yeah,
and
he
Eric.
collects. Yeah, and Eric. He collects fictional things. He collects entertainment cards too. Not wrestling, but hockey. That's fake. But the point is, okay, I offer you two documentaries. You can watch one or the other. Obviously, you can come around to the other one later on. But fine, I want you to watch one of them first. I'll give you two options. Let's say the hobby documentary works really well. They do a good job with it, whatever. But it's just talking about the hobby, basically outlining whatever and following some collector's something. Or you can have a documentary on Logan Paul and the drama of Steve Hart opening it, and we got duped, agreed, everything that led up to it, the moment, and then the immediate aftermath and follow through. Which one are you watching? Brad, which one do you want to watch?
The answer is simple.
Yeah. Mr. Burrell, I know you want to watch the hobby documentary, so I'll skip you.
The answer is simple for me. It's the MTV Real World. I mean, that's that's what you want to see.
But the thing is, there's more built-in storylines and drama, right? Like even if, let's take Albert's answer, both. No, that's fine. I want to know which one you want to watch first.
Right.
I'm not telling you can't watch the other one ever. My question is, which one do you want to watch? Which one, if I present the two, you can choose one right now. Which one do you want to watch first?
I want to know about the $3.5 million fraud.
There are storylines, there are characters, there's arcs, there's actors. Like, did they know? There's so many discussion pieces and discussion points. You go, it's like, did he fake it? What happened when we did the live about it? People had theories and theories on theories.
Were we all duped? That's what you want to see.
Yes.
That's the lead in.
Yeah. The trailer writes itself.
Yeah.
It does. Like, you've got so many little moments and clips that you could pull. And that's just from Logan Paul's 7-minute video.
Yeah, go figure.
Imagine
G.I.
if you
Joe,
grab more
I mean-
footage, you could it could have been anything else. There's so many beautiful clips you could throw right in there.
He had good music playing. Did you notice that when he didn't get the cards, it didn't work out? It was like, it was like very somber.
That's
Well
what I'm
done.
getting at.
Very well produced.
You could, and again, that was a 7-minute video. Logan Paul could redo and get it even and get more clicks on a separate version. Oh, this is the director's cut.
Yeah.
55 minutes? How much extra shit did you have? Oh, we recorded a whole bunch of stuff. Yeah,
Is
Jerry
the video
Springer.
still out there too, Carlos? The original on the sale when they sold the case to Shine.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
under
we
that was Jamil's. Yeah, so that was on Jamil's that was on Jamil's YouTube channel
Two-parter.
originally.
Two-parter.
Yeah, it was a two-parter exactly. So that was the original thing. So
Yeah. Is that still up?
Can you take
No, they took it.
I think he took it down. From what I heard, he
Yeah.
took it down.
Someone's got to record it though. Someone.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure someone grabbed it. Yeah. I'm sure
Right
someone-
away.
Oh yeah.
I'll probably rattle Pokemon, probably. Because he downloaded everything. Pretty smart.
Yeah.
That hobby, it seems like it's about the boom. And what's happening.
No, that's
What's
gonna be
happening.
dull.
This is probably the most accurate statement here. There's your hobby documentary. That's actually what happens. It's like, let me refresh the eBay app. It's like, is this literally what you're doing? Yes, that's what I'm gonna do for the next hour. Refresh the eBay app. Check the save searches, bro. Following the journey of a set collector who watches eBay auction countdowns with several auctions ending at the same time. Drama.
Wait, they stole my
Wow.
story.
That is everyone's story.
It's all about
Hey,
the
don't worry.
sniping, man.
It's like, I heard there are live streams dedicated to that. Really boring live streams dedicated to that. Somewhere, allegedly.
I think I've heard of one.
I think so. So this was the article. So thank you, Brad. Yeah, so Trading Card Boom feature documentary in the works at XTR. So I guess this is the one they're talking about here.
Yeah.
So here, impetus for new feature documentary. Oh, okay. This is what love in action looks like. Okay. Are producing The Hobby, which delves into the historic comeback of the trading card industry. The doc is a deep dive into real-time trading card fever, following longtime collectors and a new generation of buyers, including high net worth investors, athletes, and celebrities, as the hobby goes nuclear. So, Bobby, how much feature time should we expect for you on this?
Probably 1.7 seconds. There you go. That's where I got it wrong with the McDonald's, but that's okay.
Well, they could at least, at the bare minimum, they could at least like just take clips from the show. Maybe I should be like, hey guys, do you at least want to take some clips from the show or something? You may as well.
I have no controversy.
We
I just spent a lot of time writing and being quiet.
Well, the thing, unfortunately, like if they're just talking about the rise in it, I don't think they're gonna have much controversy either. Because if you're gonna talk about the rise, it's gonna be very generic.
It'll be like watching a couple of YouTube videos, so whatever.
Yeah, because it's like the rise is people spent more money.
Yeah, and it's
That's
old
it.
news now. It's old news now.
Yeah, by the time you make this documentary, it's like we already had a fall, bro.
Yeah,
Did you include the fall part?
Here's the documentary. We had a worldwide pandemic. 1 million people died, and we were stuck in our houses. And we looked at our trading cards and bought more.
You can throw in Jordan in there, and you can throw in stimulus money, and you can throw in a few other things in there. But yeah, all right.
I still haven't been paid my stimulus money, Brad. I'm still waiting for my goddamn stimulus money.
I got
Th-
nothing.
This entire
in Canada,
drama, 1 million people dying, that's really sad. Very important. To be clear, that's very sad.
stimulus money.
But the only difference here is that I got to stay home and work from home, and otherwise nothing changed.
Yes.
Brutal. Lame. I had a couple extra hours, commute time. That's basically all I got out of this deal. Not even stimulus money, Brad. Not even stimulus money out of my own tax dollars. Trash. Pure trash.
You didn't get any of the 500 million that they're not worth tracing down, finding people who took too much. No,
Not even a dollar, unfortunately. No.
The billions.
Not a
that,
Dogecoin, not an
stolen here.
Ethereum, nothing.
nothing.
Bitcoin.
I got zip.
Look, I would have taken a Bitcoin. That would have been sweet.
Just one.
The
Yeah,
gold
look,
Bitcoin.
I'm not a greedy man. I'll take a freaking Bitcoin. Oh, but Carlos is down. I'll still take a freaking Bitcoin. Send it over, bros. That's fine. Yep, Stuart Stone production. Okay. I don't think so. I think because he was the one who did the He was the one who did that other documentary. I think Jack of All
Oh, is that the
Trades?
same guy? Yeah.
Yeah, that was the other one. But no, I don't think this one's him. I don't think so. I think it's a different director.
Yeah, I don't know if this one's going to fly very well. We'll see.
I think the
I
problem
think
is
for the uneducated, yeah, but for the hobbyist,
the thing is, even for the uneducated, you still have to give them a hook.
oh,
What's
there'll be a
the
hook.
hook?
The boom, the money, the
But
dollar
the money's
value.
not there anymore.
Well, no, they're going to go through it, and then the
Yeah.
rise and the fall, right?
Yeah,
Probably.
but the problem is we have to keep talking to Golden and say, yeah, there's still money.
Oh yeah,
There's still
well,
money, damn it. Trust us.
Get those 8-track tapes out, still wrapped.
Hey, if we can grade
them
vinyl,
to
if we
Lana.
get vinyls and 8-tracks and cassettes. Ooh.
I don't know about that. It's been taunted too long. It should have just came in and did its thing.
We should have just taken the video game grading case and just put the cassette tape in it. And just
Yeah,
been done
easy.
with it.
Yeah.
Oh, he's got something.
Oh.
Brad, what do you got? Okay, hold on. Go ahead. Oh, he's got
Oh,
the
yeah.
Intellivision. Nice. Look at you. The art's good on that, though. I like the art. Ice hockey, very nice. I like that.
Mhm.
It's classic. Oh, Blades of Steel. That's the good one. Blades of Steel was fun.
Yeah,
I like Blades of Steel.
Still sealed. That's my little collection is brewing.
Yeah.
So when are you sending it off to WADA?
Very soon.
There you go.
It'll cost you more to, anyways.
Yeah.
Are
Jack
you-
of all trades was the daddy issues. That's very true. Very true. Okay, hold on here. Oh, you got a
Oh,
television. Look at you.
All right, there you
Yeah.
go.
I did like
Inte-
that game.
Christmas present this year.
In television, by the way, if memory serves me, correct me if I'm wrong, Brad. I think I'm right.
Yeah.
In television, I think at one point had a peripheral that also let you play a different gaming system, because that was at the time where you could do stuff like that and like it could kind of fly. I believe you could buy something that would allow you to play a different system with the Intellivision as well.
Really, I don't remember.
Yeah,
that.
there was
Like
one of those
ColecoVision.
systems in the '80s that let you do that.
That's the one game I played. Like out of video games, I didn't play any, but Intellivision was really the only game.
That was my game too. It's like a lot of
Dungeons
people
and Dragons, I loved it. It was so simple, so stupid, but
Can you beat Dungeons and Dragons on the fast level? Like
no.
it was so
You
hard.
can't see it coming. It's all these little stupid. But I was playing that. My sister was how old? She was in grade 3. She's 10 years old. 6. 80, early 80s, yeah.
Yeah. Lock and Chase was another game. Night Stalker.
Yeah,
I liked the baseball one was a really good game.
I never did the sports because I didn't like them. They didn't play well. They were
Oh, the baseball one did. The
I didn't
baseball
like
was
baseball.
good.
Yeah, I'd be looking at hockey, but well, the reason why I played it, I used to go from high school, drive down, pick up my sister at my aunt's place because she went to school at another place, and I would play waiting for her after I finished school, and then I would just drive home. But I didn't own it. My cousin owned it. My aunt's,
All right, I found it.
What?
So it wasn't television. It wasn't television. So I do have that recollection correct. It was the Intellivision system changer, and it let you play Atari 2600 games.
Oh,
So it was a peripheral you could attach
what
to
a
the system.
bonus.
Yeah. So, and I remember this one because there were a lot of these weird little things at the time. So this is 1983. This is the same year I was born. But I knew about this because it was one of those things that you could only pull off in the early 80s. It was the only way. Because today, imagine, Sega Genesis had the adapter so you could play Sega Master System, but that was internal. That was in-house. They could do their own thing, sure. But no, this is Intellivision playing Atari.
Amazing.
So it's like, ooh, it's like, can you do that? Is that legal? Everything's kind of legal-ish in the video game realm in the early
In that
1980s.
time, yeah.
Yeah, it's a very different universe. So there you go. The Intellivision system changer from 1983.
Now
Yeah,
that's a
that's
collector's
collectible.
piece.
There you go.
Yep.
We're on it, Jay. Don't worry.
Yeah, it's very different. Money's still there with people, big pop people. Yeah, the high end is done fine. The high end and the hobby is done fine. But we're just talking about in general terms. It's one of those things like it loses a little steam when you're not getting like all the record sales all the time. You're still getting a couple for sure, but it's not quite the same thing. Are we still in the second inning of the opening day game of the 1904 season? I think we're in 1905 now, Paul. 1905. In television. Yep. Like a PS whatever. Yep. Mm-hmm. Brad, are you sending those to BBC from some plastic wrap? Ooh, fancy. Look, at this point, he'll plastic wrap any shit. Like if you pay, like whatever.
Oh yeah. There's going to be more and more things like that. Like I my assumption albums. We talked about it. Tapes, cassettes, VHS movies, DVDs.
Well, they've been
You know-
talking about it to try to prompt it up, but it hasn't really flown yet.
Could
Brad,
we
I
get?
figure you're a Laserdisc guy.
Yeah, absolutely. Love the laser disc.
I'm a floppy disk guy.
Yeah.
All right. 3.5 or the 5
The large. The
yeah,
large
the 5, the real floppy disk. So the real floppy disk. All right.
They're big.
Just checking.
Don't worry, I
I
know.
definitely had a laser disc player. Like the large one, the small one.
Mm-hmm.
But see, if you really wanted to cheat, you could have gone in between. You could have said the cassettes with the programs in it, because you'd have the cassettes that you could run the programs off of the cassette deck, like for a TRS-80 or something like that. Not that I had a TRS-80 with a cassette deck that could play those things.
I gotcha.
Yeah, but you could. Just saying, hypothetically. Brad just needs to start a grading company with knowledge of the history of the Gabi. I know what you meant. I know what you mean. I kind of want to. Maybe if they call it a Gabi,
It
they
might
call it the
work.
Gabi, they could confuse some people. That'd be cool. That'd be sweet. No, you know what I'd like to see then? Since we're going to be grading all kinds of random crap, could we have shoe grading, because it would make the shoe kids go crazy?
Yeah.
No,
Don't
like
they
literally go
have that?
crazy. I
They don't
don't
have
know
that?
if they don't, they should.
And they should
Can-
shrink wrap them in.
Can we get BBCE to shrink wrap shoes? Can you shrink wrap my
Box.
Yeezys, Steve?
And have the original box.
I don't have Yeezys, but if you shrink wrap them, I will buy some fucking Yeezys so you can authenticate them, Steve.
You're gonna have to win the YouTube Guy of the Year to make that kind of cash to buy those stupid things.
Good
I
luck
know.
with that.
Oh, let me tell
There's
you.
no prize money.
I'm just I would just like to watch Steve Hart try these different ventures that he also doesn't know anything about. It's like, yeah, these are good. It says Breezies on them. It literally says it on there.
And you got it wrong.
It's like, it's supposed to start with a Y. It's supposed to start with a Y, Steve. We got duped. Yes, we know. It's your line. We got it.
Steve's old. He thought it was yes. He put YYZ. He didn't know.
Yep. Yeah. Well, I think I'll say this, Aussie Card Dad. I made the same thing about the sports card dad thing. I think we hit the saturation point on third party graders. We don't need more. We do not need more. I don't think we need more. I think what we need is the ones that are there to figure their thing out, right the ship, and let the best third party grader win, and let's move on.
I think, though, we do need to go to fourth or fifth party graders.
Fourth or fifth party graders.
Yeah.
So we're rating the case.
Or we just go through a grader who goes through a grader who goes through the fifth. party.
Intermediate graders.
So we're grading the Mike Baker sticker that goes on the case.
There's no case involved.
No, but Mike Baker could get a case that goes on
Okay.
top of the case. So we could get Tim to have a Mike Baker case that's actually a Slab Strong case, and then you could grade the Slab Strong case on the case.
So that's almost your fourth degree of separation. Yeah.
But-
Okay.
We're almost there, though. You have rock.
I know, like we're
Then
moving
you
ever
have
closer.
grading, and then you have a sticker on top of the graded card.
And then the guy who has to certify all four.
Yeah.
You're good.
Yeah.
That's your four. Yeah, there you go. 5 steps.
I like it. Have a good night, Victor. Take it easy. But here's the question. So is it bad if the actual case is good, the sticker's good, but the Slab Strong's fake that's been graded on top of the case?
Yeah, the
You haven't
slap
said
strong
anything about the
nullifies
card, though.
everything.
Yeah, we've got 3 of the 4 components are good, but then on the inside it turns out the Pokemon card cased inside was a G.I. Joe card. And we're back to where we started.
Then you have to get Tim involved, and he'd have to come in.
He'd have to authenticate the Slab Strong covering on the case.
And you never know what Tim's going to say.
Well, he'll probably try to outpour us, and then we'll all get distracted, and we will never get to authenticating the damn cover.
Exactly.
This is terrible. This is a horrible idea. Whoever came up with this, you're fired.
Move on.
JMTA, yep. We need to grade the fake Mike Baker stickers, yep. Well, the Mike Baker stickers were good in this case. They were good in this case.
Let's just clarify, just so
The stickers were good. The graded stuff was no good.
right. Stickers were good. Jordans were good.
No. Weren't they?
No,
Not good?
Jordans are good. The stickers are good. The slabs are bad.
Yeah, the slabs were bad.
They've already talked about 8-track and cassette tapes. They've already talked this market through. And it's just like, isn't it already happening?
Well,
Can you talk
that's
it through and then all of a sudden it goes to $1 million? Like, how can you? What the hell's that?
It's going to happen. It's good. 100%. It's going to happen.
It's already
all
happened.
three, or one in particular that you're favoring. Which one are you feeling? You got three options here.
I honestly, they're going to do them all, and then you're going to have to find. You'll look at it from this standpoint. We all gravitate towards rookie cards. You're going to have to.
Oh my God, rookie cards again! No.
So you'll have. It will be like that. It will be like, okay, when did Top Gun come out?
It was the late 80s. It was the late 80s, right?
So whatever year that was.
It was like 86.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Okay.
So what would be the rookie card, like, of Top Gun? Would it be on? Was it first released on VHS? I would assume for Top Gun.
Oh, can we have Top Gun beta, because that'd be amazing.
Probably Laserdisc.
But would that be before VHS? Like, so you'll
think
find
so.
the first version, what it was released on. It's like Michael Jackson's Thriller. Was it?
Yeah, beta was
an album
done.
in a cassette, or was it?
It's Laserdisc or VHS. Yeah.
People already collect that. I think it's sort of like the video game thing.
But they're not graded.
No.
Once you can
I think
encapsulate
somebody's
it-
starting. I think somebody started with the 8-tracks. I'm very
Well,
sure about that.
You'll need.
Cassette- I heard about the cassette tapes, but cassette. It's just-
8-tracks have better art on them. Cassette tapes have no art. LPs have art. Laserdisc has art.
I think it's going to be huge.
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 How can it be? If everybody knows about it and everybody's out there collecting it for the last, I don't know, 6 months, 8 months, a year.
Yeah, but who has, and who's got the first ones to market with them? I've been buying all these video games. I don't know. Like, I know maybe I'm lost. I'd like to have the highest graded hockey video game from each system. That's kind of my ambition.
Well, I think at this point, if you send it to one,
fun.
it's like pop one, pop one, pop one, pop one, pop one.
Because otherwise they're $20, right? 15, $20 a game for those.
I would think they still are. Yeah. The sports
I know.
video games are usually really cheap.
That Blades of Steel.
The Blade one might be a little.
Yeah, the Blades one to me is like the best one.
Yeah,
I
that
would
might be
think.
20, 25.
I wonder though if
As
there'd
big-
be
people
folks that would
said-
chase after like the ice hockey, because I think ice hockey was the first one. Blades
Yeah.
of Steel would be like the best one, but ice hockey would be the first one for Nintendo.
Ice hockey's like $14, $15, $20 max, and they're all almost like that.
No, they're supposed to be like the sports games were always cheap. That was the thing when I used to go to those swap meets. All the sports games were always like in the bargain bin. It didn't matter which one it was; you could get them all.
And they were the mostly sold. You know, a lot of kids always wanted the sports games.
The thing is, they're fun games. They were just dirt cheap common. Like
Mhm.
my favorite one from the Sega Genesis was just playing the Pat Riley basketball, just because I could dominate. By the way, it's not a very good game. It's okay, but it's like it's
Back
very
then,
basic.
was-
It was fine for what it was. It was basically, if you went for a 3-point shot, it would go to a cutscene of the guy doing a 3-point shot. Yeah, it was.
Oh gosh. Okay.
Yeah. And if you went for a dunk, depending on what angle you took to get to the rim, it would have 3 different cutscene animations of you doing the dunk.
hmm
But if you mistimed the dunk, it would have a cutscene of you missing the dunk and clanging the dunk off the rim. I was like, come on.
Oh, we've come so far.
One would think. Who knows? Okay, so hold on.
I think
Here,
that's
like
good
this.
nostalgia, Brad. Sure, but value-wise, if it goes crazy, then that's just
It only takes 2 people. To
That is
want
true.
one thing,
That is true.
right? Like, and I think when you see that, even with the Super Mario Brothers, I've got a friend of mine that has. Last year, he had the highest graded He-Man and the highest graded Skeletor
action figure.
with the action figures. And I was saying it, and I remember at the time he paid the top. He goes, "I'm paying whatever. I'm going to buy them. I want to have the 2 highest graded." Like, who knows? Like, so say if he paid 1,000 or 5,000 or 10,000, 2 people want to have the highest graded. That could be 100,000, could be 500,000, right?
My He-Man back in like 1984 lost a battle with G.I. Joe and lost a leg out in the backyard.
Was it a meltdown?
I've got my guys.
Yeah, just blew right off.
Yep.
Little firecracker, just landmine.
I keep all my guys. These are my originals from a kid.
Oh, he's got the He-Man. He's got Skeletor.
Yeah.
What was the name of the cat?
Well, Battle Cat was He-Man's cat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Skeletor's was there's that.
Okay.
He-Man.
Look at you.
And then you got-
He-Man was the best because the cartoon was basically just a big ad for the stupid action figures.
Yeah.
It was like literally there's no pretenses.
I
This
had
is
that.
literally to sell the damn thing.
Yep, I had that.
Right? You got to have those, and then the final piece of the puzzle is to complete the He-Man is the first three.
Oh, okay. The
comics.
Masters of the Universe comics. Okay.
Yeah.
It was DC too. There you go. Nice,
Yeah.
nice.
Go figure.
All right, so real quick, I grab this. Baz here says Nintendo Ice Hockey 9.4 Wada is 1,000 sold price on eBay. It is a Wada. I feel like on one of the previous live streams, somebody pointed out that there was a really early. If you really want to get technical, there was a Mick Foley card that was in an earlier one where he was a cameo on somebody else's card. It was an
Right.
action pose, and then Mick Foley was the one getting pinned. If you want to get super technical, he was actually in the card. But then obviously, then there would be ones that are like Mick Foley. So Brad sent a couple of pictures. I've cropped a few because it has like Brad's address on it, so I'm cropping that out. So
But
give me.
I probably
Yeah, I took care of it. It took me a minute. That's why I was doing some work here.
those were my purchases.
Yep. All right, here we go. So let me do this one here. I'll grab the window. I think we should be all right here. This one should be fine. So there you go. There's a copy of Ice Hockey, Wada 8.5. So $3.99. Now, did any of them sell nearby? Did you actually check any comps before you picked it up, or just went for it?
I went for it. So I bought that one. I think I got that one for $250 maybe, and
Okay.
I just bought the 9.8 version of that, which obviously would be the highest through Wada. The
Yep.
Blades of Steel came from Hawaii.
Gotcha. Okay, so I'm gonna pull it up, and I'll do the same thing. I'll crop. So give me a minute here, and I'll take care of that. Okay, so
I never had any of the cool hockey games back in my Atari. Just I had pretty much just the Donkey Kong, Pac-Man, Frogger.
you never got in at all on the Nintendo side of it.
No,
It's a shame you missed out.
no.
Yeah, the Nintendo one was much better.
But I kid you not. I had the Atari 2600, and then I did not have a video game system in my house until we bought my daughter an Xbox.
Well, in fairness, if we had given you the Nintendo, would you have figured out how to open the box and do anything with it?
I wouldn't know.
There's a lot of wires, Eric.
I
lot of
know.
wires.
You should see me try to put the Xbox together.
So there you go. So that's $600 for that one.
Yeah.
So that is for the Blades of Steel.
And that's the only sealed one I've seen in the last year. Since I started.
I'm curious. It's been a while. Like, I wish I could remember, because I obviously wasn't paying too close attention to it. I feel like it would surprise me if I didn't see some Blades of Steel at some point sealed. Like I said, I went to those game swaps and they had a lot of different ones at
Yeah,
the time.
they got to be out there. So
Yeah, because there was a premium, yes, but not like a crazy premium. It couldn't have been that nuts. And then we've got the Ice Hockey, so I'll take care of that one here. Bear with me.
that
We're-
Blades of Steel. It's funny when you talk about patience and being persistent. And the guy's a super nice guy. He's from Hawaii, but he shipped that probably the longest I've ever waited to receive something.
There's your NES unopened, so Ice Hockey copy. There
Yeah.
you go.
So he shipped when when you go in and you click on the tracking and you follow something, and sometimes a piece like you'll be like, how did this have 30 stops to get here?
Yeah.
Like this one here is the most aggressive I've ever seen from a tracking standpoint.
My favorite is that I've had a couple of trackings where it literally goes backwards. I saw one where it went, and where I am, because I'm in the GTA, so you got Toronto as the big hub there, but then you've got the local one, but they put it at the local one, so it should be close to me. And then they accidentally shipped it all the way to the West Coast. And I was like, why would you, what would possess you to think that? And then it had to come back and then end up back at my local depot. And then they shipped it to me.
Yeah.
And then the best part is when they shipped it to me, the mailman was too lazy to actually deliver it. So he like snuck up like a ninja and just dropped off the slip. And I like ninja skill like. And I'm sitting there like, because where my office is, I'm beside my front door. You could breathe on it hard and I'd hear you. So he's like operating like a ninja. And then I'm sitting there, I check on it, I find the stupid thing, and I go, well, joke's on you, dude. Because you came out, I can scan it with the Canada Post thing. And my post office will actually update it. And if they have it already in there, they get it before the end of the day. I can waltz in and grab it the same day. It's supposed to be the next day, but they scan it before the close. So I'm like, joke's on you, I'm getting that now. How dare you?
Yeah, this one was September 27th. He shipped it. I received it on December 29th.
Great.
That was the process. 3 months.
So this is the one here. Foley on the 85 Topps card being pinned by Tito Santana. So that's the cameo one I was looking at. And the 88 Topps card with Hercules on his backtracker finisher. Nice. That's all right. So the one that I mainly am kind of known for around these parts is the Medano collection. So I collect the Mike Medano hockey cards. But I collect some vintage baseball and a little vintage hockey as well. So those are kind of other ones. I've got other collections, but a lot of it is just based on what I like. The other thing is I'll pick up a bunch of Juan Soto cards, so that's another player PC I have. Jamie Benn on the hockey side as well. So I've got a few player collections. Medano's the main one, but these other ones are also there. And then some vintage. Any interest in 98, 99 WCW autos? Not myself. There are some good ones though, to be fair. I guess it also depends, like which ones you got, because there's a bunch. I think that set for that WCW one, it's a big checklist actually, and I know some collectors who finished it, including like the unreleased ones. Like it's crazy. It's over 100 cards. They're actually pretty hard to come by, some of them, and it's the dumbest ones that are that are the tough ones to find. Yeah, they're quite rare. But that's kind of what happened. So it's kind of the same situation. That is another series in the wrestling thing where it became more valuable later. It was rare. Some of them were really tough to come by, so because some of them were technically not released, but they existed. So those are super rare. But the value wasn't there for the longest time, except for the set collectors. There was only the handful that were trying to do the set. Yeah, so 103 total plus the unreleased. Yeah, exactly. And only the hardcore of the hardcores went after it. That was it. But then as the years went by, I was like, actually, because I think in that set you did have guys like Sting and guys who were still names afterwards. So then as they kind of had their renaissance and resurgence, all of a sudden it's like, oh, we can chase after these ones from the late 90s. Oh, that's great. Yeah, I think for some of the tougher ones, I think that's accurate. I can't speak for the general, but they didn't make a lot. They were actually pretty tough pulls back in the day. But that's why I kind of say that the wrestling fans are passionate, but there hasn't been enough of them actually interested in collecting the cards.
I sold some wrestling cards this week, actually. What did I sell?
Did you pull them out of the boxes? Or just in general?
This was a great sale. I'm just waiting for the guy to send it. Those, I sold 4.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Macho Man with Lewis from 80. That's 85, right? Yeah, 85.
I think that's 85.
Yeah. So, like, what do you think? Like, the 4 single cards sold on eBay of that?
Well, I know what it would have been when I was at Legends of the Game and the stupid things were $1. I'm not saying because I bought some that are somewhere in the ether somewhere, because I had the Hogan from that stupid set. And it was like $2 for Hogan. Like, it wasn't, like I said, no one cared. It didn't matter. Okay, so this is Savage and Elizabeth, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so this would be a pretty good combo. So this is on eBay?
And
were they sold individually or as a lot?
As a lot of 4. We run auctions every week. We start them on Sunday to Sunday. We usually do 100, 150 every week of unique, random stuff.
100 for the 4? 25 a piece?
I was going to say 150.
Just sent you the link. $274 US.
It had like wow. I tried to stay like where I thought it made sense in my head, and then I'm like, no, what am I talking about?
Yeah.
What am I talking about? Yeah, Macho Man. Yeah.
Is that their first card together where they're on the?
Yeah. I
Yeah,
think-
for 85 it would be like right at the beginning because Savage was there, but he was in the company that his family owned.
Right.
And then he went to WBF at the time. And then that was the beginning of his run to become a big star on that side of the thing.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, I watched his the documentary and stuff that came out a few months ago.
yeah.
You know
And
what? Like that's one thing that's so fun about eBay. Like we run these on reserve. We've been doing this for 20 years on reserved lots, and like no gimmicks, no anything. They just go, and I always get a kick out of it because that I sold a lot of 2 or 4 Ultimate Warrior 91 Classics, which is his first card. And when I put those on eBay, I said, yeah, I wonder who's going to go for more. I said, the 2 Ultimate Warriors will go more than the 4 Macho Mans. That was my perception. The 2 Ultimate Warriors sold for $4.99, the starting bid, and these went for $2.74. Like some things, it's mind-boggling how eBay works, and you just need 2 people that want it on that day, right? That's all it takes.
But Brad, they didn't pay $2.74 for a Macho Man card. They paid $2.74 for an Elizabeth card.
There you go.
but that was the thing is that, especially at the time and then later on, like Elizabeth was probably more popular than the Macho Man in 1985.
The
obviously.
lovely Elizabeth.
Yeah,
One of my first crushes as a young boy.
yeah. And the thing is, as time went on, it helped that like the Macho Man obviously had a great career as well, and then went on to do his own thing. But Elizabeth is super fondly remembered, so it's like a bonus. You're getting both, because for years they were a tandem, so you were getting both sides of that. And Elizabeth had huge fans for the same reason that Eric's talking about.
Oh.
So that's always there. And then the Macho Man went on to have a great career on his own right as a Hall of Famer, and then he went on to be pop culture. He went on to do Slim Jim commercials and all that stuff. Like he was a star separate, even from his wrestling exploits.
Yeah.
Because there aren't too many guys today that do that. You don't see John Cena in too many commercials, even though he's doing movies. Not like that anyway. It's not like that anymore.
Bobby, stop trying to make me spend my money.
He's got to make you spend his money. He needs you to do something, in the meantime.
That's pretty rare.
Oh, yeah. That's pretty sweet. He's sending me a 72 Bruins Stanley Cup championship mug.
Oh, I thought he was sending you a 72 Bruins Stanley Cup. Here's the cup. Just take it.
Those narrow ones are really tough.
Brad's the one with the cup.
Yes.
Yeah,
That is true.
I got the cup.
There you go.
So it's actually in Massachusetts, so it's not that far away.
You could drive, pick it up, and pay him $30. Jeez, that's cheap.
So, Bob, that one is going to be almost entirely based on generation. So, for Eric's generation, it's going to be Elizabeth. Tori Wilson will get a different generation. Just depends.
My generation? No.
Fabulous Moolah.
Oh my God.
And for several generations, you don't have a choice. It's fabulous. You can have Mae Young if you want. You can choose that.
Right.
You can go that route. Fabulous Moolah and Mae Young.
Mae West, maybe.
Yeah,
There you
right,
go.
maybe.
There you go. It's like Bobby will abstain. Bobby will abstain in this
Yes.
in this discussion.
That's
Wisely so. Wisely so. Yeah, sounds good. All right, cool. So what I'll say is I kind of play it by ear, just kind of how things are going. Here's the truth. We can kind of chat about whatever. I'm good with that. But I'm not going to drag things out for the sake of dragging it out. So what I'll say is, folks, if there's anything else that you want to chat about tonight, we had our fun. But yeah, I think we got pretty much all our mileage on the big story of the day, to be honest. That was kind of the big dominating thing this week. And I was kind of looking to see if there's anything else that might be of some interest or something, and I wasn't coming up with much, I'll be honest. We added already the missing elements of it, and we covered a lot of the other pieces and topics. So I'll leave it at that. So any last thoughts or anything, you can throw it in the chat. Otherwise, we'll call it an evening. And on your way out, if you could hit the like button, that would be appreciated if you haven't already. I always appreciate it. And yeah, we'll come back next week and we'll see if anybody decides to do anything else crazy. You never know. Ken Golden could still light himself on fire. I still think that's in play. If he ever feels like people aren't paying attention to him, this could be a thing.
And don't forget.
I think his shirts are fireproof.
Mm.
Well, he might just have to take off the shirt. Like it wouldn't do any good.
Yeah.
He could always try to mimic. He could always try to mimic that Pink Floyd cover, "Wish You Were Here." The one guy's on fire doing it.
Yeah, right.
Like you could do that.
Yep.
They could shake hands on a PSA 10 Charizard.
Ooh. Remember, everybody, vote for Carlos.
It's true. It's true. You actually have to be on YouTube. That'll kind of be part of it, but there you go. And name, of course. Like I said, I think he's doing it on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's doing it on purpose.
No, and he's texting me too, so screw him.
Name, I'm appreciating you trolling. Hold on. I'm appreciating you trolling him. I'm appreciating it.
He's Instagramming me too. Come on.
Yeah, it's like he's like, hey guys, I have a studio with like 12 cameras, but I can't figure. I got almost done the sandwich. Hold on, I need like another 2 hours. I'm like at 0.35 of the 50-point inspection.
No, he has his own YouTube channel. He can vote for himself.
No, what he should do, and name, you got to figure out how to do this. What he should do is go live, and then put us on the screen going like, I'm trying to figure out how to get on the live. What the hell? Like I keep trying to press the button, it's not working for me.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I play. Just saying. Just saying. Anyway, guys, thank you. Great comments in the chat. Great questions. We did get a chance to cover some ground, so I'm very happy with that. We'll see how next week turns out as far as that's concerned. I'll kind of keep my eye out and see what else is going on. I don't think we'll get too much on the Marx thing right away. I think it's going to take a while now. Now it's going to chill for a bit. And then we're going to have to see basically if there is another shoe to drop because there were other bulk submitters and see what they were doing. Other than that, the hobby keeps turning. I'm sure we'll come up with something between now and next week. I have complete faith in the content gods on this.
The way things are going.
Complete faith. Like we have overperformed in January, guys. We have way overperformed in January.
It's only the 22nd.
That's what I'm getting at. Like we have overperformed. We still got time. Sounds good. All right. So that'll be it for us this time around. We'll catch you in the next one. See you, Nate? Think about it.
See you later,
Told
buddy.
you, buddy. Told you, buddy.
Night, guys.
There you go. Have a good one, Bob. Everybody else.